How a bookstore became everything. Imagine a quiet little bookstore, just shelves, paper, and ink. Could that place ever become everything? It sounds wild, but that's what happened with Amazon. Once, it was just a website selling books, nothing more, but someone saw something much bigger, much wider. Years ago, a man named Jeff Bezos had an idea. He looked at the early internet, this new place, and thought, what if people could buy books from anywhere, without leaving home? This simple thought changed everything. He started Amazon in his garage, packing books. He wasn't thinking about groceries or movies then. He just sold books online. But he had a vision, to be Earth's biggest bookstore. Then, even bigger, to offer anything people might want. Think about planting a tiny seed. It looks like nothing, just a speck in your hand. But give it water, sun, and time. That seed pushes up, grows deep roots, then a stem, branches, leaves. Soon, it's a giant tree. It offers shade, becomes home for birds, gives fruit. That tiny seed holds the potential for something massive, something vital. This story of a bookstore becoming everything isn't just about business. It's about imagination and the courage to take small steps toward a huge dream. It tells us that even the simplest beginning, if cared for and allowed to grow, can reach further than anyone ever thought possible. It's a quiet reminder that every giant thing around us once started small, with just one idea, one book, one tiny seed. The deal that gave us all our videos. Have you ever stopped to think about all the videos you watch every single day? From funny clips to longer shows, they're just everywhere. But here's the thing. How did they get there? Why is it so easy to share them, even across the world, without them looking blurry or taking forever to load? It wasn't always like this. There was a time when video files were huge, like trying to send a massive truck down a tiny bike path. So, here's what happened. A long time ago, a company figured out a very clever way to shrink video files without making them look bad. They found a secret method, almost like a special language. This method could squish a video down super small to travel quickly across the internet, then pop it back to full size on your screen. This wasn't just an invention, it was also a smart business deal. The company decided to let almost everyone use this method, making it widely available. Think of it like this. Imagine you have a giant, complicated Lego castle. If you wanted to send it to a friend instantly, you couldn't. But what if you could take it apart, put all the pieces in a tiny, light box, send it, and then it instantly rebuilt itself perfectly on their side? That's kind of what this deal allowed video to do. The video was taken apart into small data, sent, then put back together on your device. This deal helped create common rules so videos made anywhere could be watched everywhere. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. This deal wasn't about selling a product. It was about sharing a fundamental technology, a way of organizing information. It's a quiet reminder that sometimes the biggest impacts come from agreements that make tools accessible to everyone. It shows how a smart decision, made long ago, can quietly shape how billions of people connect, learn, and laugh every single day. It lets us see how human cleverness and sharing can change the whole world. When your photo app got a new boss, have you ever scrolled through Instagram, maybe posting a photo or checking your friends' stories, and felt a connection to it, like it's just there for you, always? But then, have you ever stopped to wonder how something so huge and popular came to be? And what happens when the very thing you love gets a new owner? Here's the thing. Instagram started as a dream, a cool idea from a few people who wanted to share pictures easily. It was small, fresh, and everyone loved it. But then, a much bigger company, Facebook, saw just how special Instagram was. And so, in a moment that changed everything for the app, Facebook bought Instagram. It was a massive deal, a business handshake worth $1 billion. This kind of thing happens a lot. And it's not just with apps. Think about your favorite local pizza place. Maybe it's a family-run spot. Everyone knows the owner, and the pizza has a secret special taste. You just love going there. But imagine one day, a huge national chain buys that small pizza place. The sign might even stay the same for a while. The menu might look familiar. But what happens inside? Does the new boss keep the same secret recipe? Do the old bakers stay? Or does the whole feeling, the heart of the place, slowly start to change, even just a little? It's still pizza, yes, but it might not taste quite the same, or feel as special. This makes you think, doesn't it? What happens to the soul of something unique and loved when it suddenly has a new boss? Does its original spirit stay, or does it shift and become something different? It's a quiet question we carry whenever something we care about deeply changes hands. The time Xbox joined the team, have you ever thought about how big companies sometimes come together, almost like different parts of a story finding their way to the same page? It's a quiet, important moment when one company sees something truly special in another, and they decide to share their journeys. This happened with Xbox. Back then, Microsoft was a huge company, known for computers and software, but they had a bigger dream, a vision of connecting people in new ways. They saw the world of video games growing, and they felt a pull towards it. That's where Xbox came in. It wasn't just a gaming console. It was a promise, a feeling of pure fun and connection for millions of players. Microsoft looked at Xbox, and it wasn't just numbers they saw. They saw a heart beating with excitement, a potential for friendships formed over screens. So, here's what happened. Microsoft decided to bring Xbox into its family. This wasn't just about buying something. It was like two different melodies joining to make one powerful song. Imagine you love to draw, and your friend loves to tell stories. When you decide to create a comic book together, your separate talents make something far better than you could have made alone. You both bring your best, and the final creation holds pieces of both your hearts. Xbox joining Microsoft was like that. It was about shared belief, a trust that together, they could create even more magic. It shows us something pretty amazing about how big things happen. Sometimes, the bravest step isn't to build everything from scratch yourself. Instead, it's finding someone else who shares a similar fire, a similar dream, and then deciding to walk forward hand in hand. It's a reminder that true strength often comes from coming together, from letting different parts unite to form something new and wonderful. And that's why it matters, because every time a company like Xbox joined a team like Microsoft, it changed the world a little, proving that shared dreams can grow into something truly immense. Making money from friends' messages. Have you ever wondered why a specific ad pops up on your screen right after you talked about that exact thing with a friend? It feels like magic, doesn't it? Like the universe is listening. But here's the thing. It's not magic at all. It's business, in an unsettling way. The messaging apps we use daily, for jokes, secrets, and feelings, are constantly learning about us. Every text, every shared link, every emoji helps build a picture. It's not about reading your messages directly, but understanding patterns. What are people interested in? Which brands come up? This data, these countless pieces of information, become incredibly valuable. Think about letters long ago. Your thoughts were truly private. Now, our choices are shared just by living our digital lives. It's a silent trade. We connect instantly and for free. In return, companies get to know us better than some friends. Imagine telling your best friend at a school fair you really want new headphones. A few minutes later, you pass a stall with a giant display of those exact headphones, plus a discount. You feel excited, maybe a little weirded out, but you might buy them. This is how it works online, but on a huge scale. The stall owner is a big company. The friend you told is the app. So, the next time you send a quick message, a silly sticker, or a heartfelt note, remember this quiet truth. Those moments of connection, full of laughter and emotion, carry a hidden worth for others. It makes you pause. What does free truly mean? And how do our everyday words, once just whispers, now help build empires of billions? It's a strange intimacy, how our friendships fuel vast fortunes. A tiny house camera that got huge. Have you ever wondered what happens at home when you're away? Maybe you think about your pet, or a package on the porch. It's a quiet feeling, this wish to know, to be there even when you can't. This simple feeling sparked a giant idea, a small camera for your home. It started tiny, a little eye watching your space. It wasn't a complex security system, but a simple way to offer peace of mind, a quick peek to make sure things were okay. The Ring camera started when its founder just wanted to see his deliveries. That small need for more sight and control grew huge. Humans have always wanted to feel safe, right? Think of people long ago, building walls or sending smoke signals. It's a deep, old part of us, this need to protect what we care about. We want our loved ones safe, our things secure. This little camera taps into that deep human desire, offering a digital helper. Think of a tiny seed. You can't imagine the tree it grows into. With simple care, like water and sunshine, it grows very big. The home camera was like that seed, solving a small, everyday worry. Is my package still there? Or did my dog jump on the couch? But here's the thing. This wasn't just about selling cameras. It was about selling a feeling. It offered connection, eased worries, and gave presence. It helped people feel closer to their homes, even when far away. It shows how a simple wish, a human need for reassurance, can blossom into something life-changing, creating billions from a tiny eye that brought comfort. The phone company that changed hands. Have you ever thought about how it feels when something you've always relied on, something familiar, suddenly belongs to someone new? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? Like when your favorite local store gets new owners, and even though the sign might look the same, the feeling changes. Now, think bigger. Think about the phone company. For a long time, connecting people across towns, states, and oceans was the job of one big company. It felt like a constant, a part of life, so reliable you barely noticed it. It wasn't just wires and switchboards. It was the whispered goodnights to grandparents, the urgent calls for help, the laughter shared over miles. It was the thread of connection in our daily lives, a silent promise you could always reach out. Then, sometimes, these huge companies change hands. Billions of dollars change hands. But what truly changes? It's not just money. It's the spirit of the service, the unseen promise, the values that guide how we talk to each other. When a company that holds so much of our trust, our communication, is bought by someone new, it feels like a quiet shift. Think of it like this. Your school might get a new principal. It's still the same building, the same classrooms, but the way things are run, the feeling, the atmosphere, shifts. You might wonder, will things be better? Will they be worse? Will the familiar comfort remain? So, when a phone company, a keeper of connections, changes hands, it reminds us how deeply our lives are linked to these big businesses. It's a quiet moment to reflect on what we value most in these services. Not just speed or cost, but the steady presence that bridges distances. It makes us think about who holds the threads of our daily connections and what it means when they're passed on. When a music service became a giant have you ever stopped to think about how you listen to music today? How, with just a few taps, almost any song ever made can fill your ears. It feels like magic, right? But not so long ago, getting music was a big deal. You saved up for a CD, one album by one artist. Each song was a careful choice, a physical thing you held. And that's why it matters to think about what happened next. Here's the thing. Someone imagined a world where all that music, every single song, could be together. Not owned by you, but shared, streamed like water from a tap, ready whenever you wanted. It was a bold, simple idea. A single company then built a huge digital library, a place where millions of songs lived. This wasn't just about selling music. It was about opening up a whole new way to experience sound. Imagine a vast, endless ocean of music. Before, you might only get to visit one small part, like a local pond. But this service built a boat, a way for everyone to sail across that entire ocean. You could find new islands of sound, discover artists from far-off lands, and revisit old favorites with ease. It wasn't about possessing the music anymore. It was about access, about discovery, about a connection to a global beat. This idea, born from a simple wish to hear more music easily, quickly grew. It connected people to sounds, to stories, to each other. It became a daily comfort, a soundtrack to countless lives. And that's how a humble music service became a giant, showing us how a deep understanding of what people truly desire can change the world, one melody at a time. It's a quiet reminder that even the biggest changes often start with a very human dream. Selling pizzas for a fortune. Have you ever really thought about a slice of pizza? It's comforting, easy, a go-to for so many. But here's the thing. How did something so ordinary, eaten daily, become the foundation for businesses worth billions? It's a quiet wonder. For centuries, pizza was just a poor person's meal in Italy, a humble way to fill bellies. It wasn't fancy. But then, some people saw it differently. They didn't just see flour and tomatoes. They saw connection. They saw a need. And they saw a way to bring simple joy. This isn't just about selling food. It's about selling comfort, convenience, and happiness. Think about a small, sturdy seed. It doesn't look like much, but with the right care, soil, water, sunlight, that seed can grow into a towering tree, providing shade and fruit. That's what some pizza makers did. They took a simple idea, a common food, and nurtured it. They didn't invent a new tree. They just grew the existing one with passion and smart choices. Every detail mattered, from the perfect crust to the fastest delivery. They dreamed of feeding not just a neighborhood, but a whole nation, even the world. It takes a special heart to see that potential, to believe deeply in a simple thing. It's the feeling of wanting to share something good, to make life easier, more delicious for others. From basic ingredients and a huge dream, empires were built. It shows us that even everyday items, touched by vision and dedication, can grow into something truly immense, leaving a lasting mark, one satisfying bite at a time. The story of the coffee shop empire. Have you ever walked past a coffee shop, maybe on a cold day, and seen the warm glow inside, felt the soft rumble of quiet conversation, and just wanted to step in? It's more than just a place to grab a drink. It's a feeling. It's an idea that, for some, grew into an empire worth billions. Here's the thing. People have always needed places to gather. For thousands of years, we've met in town squares, by campfires, or in busy markets. We crave connection, a sense of belonging. But in our busy, modern lives, sometimes it feels like we only have home and school or work. We needed a third place, somewhere friendly that isn't either of those. A spot to simply be. So, here's what happened. Someone imagined a place that felt like your own comfy living room, but open to everyone. A space where you could sit alone with your thoughts, or meet a friend, or even just watch the world go by. It's like when you plant a tiny seed, no bigger than a grain of rice. You give it the right soil, the right amount of water and sunlight, and slowly, gently, it starts to grow. It stretches, it builds, and eventually, it becomes a strong, towering plant. That first coffee shop was like that tiny seed. It wasn't about fancy machines or complicated menus at first. It was about creating a warm, welcoming feeling, a place where everyone felt invited. And because this feeling, this need for a third place, was so strong in so many people, that one small idea started to grow. It grew from one shop, to a few, and then to hundreds, even thousands. It teaches us that sometimes, the biggest businesses aren't built on complicated inventions, but on understanding a simple, quiet human need, a need for warmth, for community, for a gentle moment in a busy day. And that's why it matters, because an empire of coffee cups shows us how much we all long for a little peace, a little connection, and a place to belong. How one snack company grew so big. Have you ever wondered why certain snacks are everywhere, from the grocery store to your friend's house, even in movies? It's not just luck. There's a quiet, powerful story behind it, about understanding people in a way that feels almost like a warm hug. This one snack company didn't just mix ingredients. They truly listened. They wanted to know what made people happy, what made them feel comforted after a long day, or what small burst of joy could brighten a boring afternoon. It's like they truly saw us, in all our everyday moments, asking about our real needs, and then they tried to give it to us, wrapped up in something crunchy or sweet. Think about how people have always connected. From sharing stories around campfires to friends texting memes, we look for understanding. Businesses learned this truth. The most lasting ones don't just sell a product, they connect to a feeling, a deep human desire for comfort, pleasure, or a tiny escape. They understood a snack isn't just food. Sometimes, it's a small piece of happiness you can hold. Imagine, you're trying to build the perfect treehouse for your friends. You wouldn't just throw some wood together, right? You'd ask them what they dream of. A secret lookout, a comfy cushion, a pulley system for snacks. You'd think about what would make them feel excited and special. That's a bit like what this company did. They focused on those little details, those unspoken wishes, until their snack became more than just a treat. It became a reliable friend, always there. So, when you see those snacks everywhere, remember that story. It's a gentle reminder that some big successes aren't built on force or loud promises. They're built on something much softer, yet incredibly strong. The quiet art of understanding people, connecting with their simple desires, and bringing a little comfort into their lives. It shows us that caring can grow something huge. The toy company that sold for billions. Have you ever looked at a simple plastic brick, maybe a Lego, and wondered what makes it so special? It's just a shape, right? A colorful block that fits with others. But here's the thing. Sometimes, the simplest ideas hold the biggest magic, and that magic can be worth billions. We're talking about companies that turned childhood dreams and countless hours of play into colossal empires. These weren't just businesses, they were weavers of joy. Imagine a world where kids, and even adults, could build anything their minds dreamed of, piece by tiny piece. That's what a certain toy company did, starting small. It wasn't just about selling plastic. It was about selling imagination, connection, and the deep joy of creating something from nothing. For generations, these little bricks helped kids learn, explore, and tell their own vivid stories. Think about it, a box of Legos isn't just plastic. It's a knight's castle, an astronaut's spaceship, a secret fort, or a bustling city street. It becomes whatever you want it to be, a reflection of your inner world. This idea of simple elements, combining into endless, meaningful possibilities, isn't just for toys. It's like how a few basic musical notes can form a powerful symphony that moves us, or how simple ingredients in your kitchen can become a delicious meal that brings family together. The real value isn't in the materials themselves. It's in the potential they hold, the creativity they spark, and the precious memories they build. This company understood that parents didn't just buy plastic, they bought moments of quiet focus, shared laughter, and immense pride in what their child created. So, when a company built on such simple, profound ideas sells for billions, it's not just about factories or sales numbers, it's about how many hearts it touched, how many imaginations it fueled across decades, and how many dreams it helped build, brick by beautiful brick, within countless homes. It reminds us that true, lasting wealth isn't always found in complexity, but often in the simple, profound ability to bring joy and wonder into the world, connecting people through play. And that, truly, is why it matters. The day a shoe brand walked away, rich. Have you ever thought that saying no could make you richer than saying yes? It sounds strange, doesn't it? Like turning down a gift. But sometimes, in the world of big business, the bravest move isn't to grab every dollar, it's to walk away. This isn't about being mean or rejecting money. It's about knowing your worth and what you stand for. Imagine a famous shoe company. Let's call them Everstep. For years, Everstep built its name on quality shoes. People trusted them. Then, a huge retailer, a giant in the shopping world, came calling. They offered Everstep a massive deal, promising to sell millions of their shoes. It sounded like a dream come true, a flood of money. But there was a catch. The retailer wanted Everstep to make shoes cheaper, quicker, using materials that weren't as good. They wanted to strip away what made Everstep special, just to sell more. Here's the thing. Everstep's leaders faced a tough choice. Take the fast money and maybe lose their reputation, or refuse the deal and risk a huge opportunity. It felt like standing at a crossroads. Many would have taken the money, but Everstep remembered their mission, crafting great shoes, not just any shoes. So, with a heavy heart, they said no. They walked away from billions. It might seem crazy, but here's the thing. It's like choosing to finish tough homework properly, instead of rushing it just to play games. You might miss out on immediate fun, but you learn more, and your future self thanks you. Everstep knew if they lowered quality, people would notice. Their reputation, built for decades, would crumble. So they kept making their good shoes. The big retailer went elsewhere, and guess what? Everstep's loyal customers appreciated their honesty. Other stores wanted their shoes even more because Everstep proved it cared about quality above quick cash. Their brand grew stronger, known for its integrity. They didn't get the quick billions, but over time, by sticking to their values, they built a business that earned more respect and eventually, greater wealth. It teaches us that true value isn't always counted in today's dollars, but in the trust you build and the values you uphold. And that's why it matters. Building a search engine into a gold mine. Have you ever felt lost, searching for an answer? When you need to know something hidden, we all search daily. A fact, a song, a solution. But imagine the whole internet, so vast it's hard to picture. How do you find one tiny detail in all that digital space? Here's the thing. People built a special tool. They created a super smart way to organize the internet. This tool knows where every piece of information lives online. It's called a search engine. It simply brought order to the chaos. Think of old libraries, built for human knowledge. Imagine the answers waiting. But even then, you needed a guide. A search engine became our digital world's trusted map through countless pages. Typing a question and instantly seeing answers felt magical. But here's what happened. This simple act of finding information this deep human need to understand became incredible. Each question was a tiny peek into what people truly wanted. This insight became more precious than physical gold. It connected people to not just answers, but products, services, and ideas they deeply needed. So, this quiet, helpful tool, born from the wish to organize, grew vast. It reminds us that great wealth comes from meeting basic human needs smartly. Helping someone find their path creates something immense. It's a quiet wonder how a simple question can lead to such a golden path. From games to a tech powerhouse, have you ever thought about how something small, maybe just a fun idea, could grow into something huge and world-changing? It's like watching a tiny seed become a giant, strong tree. This kind of unexpected journey happens in business, too. It's the story of how companies starting with simple video games, just for entertainment, can sometimes become massive leaders in technology. Think about it. Games are about play. They let us escape into different worlds or build new ones. But making those worlds takes serious smarts. It needs brilliant engineers, clever designers, and people who truly understand how technology works. So, when a company gets really good at making games, they're also building amazing tech skills. They learn about powerful computer chips, incredible graphics, and connecting millions online. This deep hands-on knowledge is like building muscles in a gym. You start with smaller weights, but over time, you grow strong enough to lift heavy ones. Here's the thing. Once you have those muscles, that advanced technology, you can do so much more than just play. You can start building tools that change how we learn, how we work, even how we discover new things. It's like a caterpillar turning into a beautiful butterfly. It starts as one creature, moving slowly, and then transforms into something entirely new, capable of flight. The first dream might have been just to create an awesome game, but the journey teaches them so much that they find new, bigger dreams. This journey reminds us that every beginning, no matter how small, holds the hidden seeds of something extraordinary. It shows us that passion for one thing can quietly open doors to a different future, often grander than anyone first imagined. It's a gentle testament to growth, a soft reminder that what seems like simple fun can often be the very first step towards changing our world, one amazing idea at a time. The online shopping cart that exploded. Have you ever stopped to think about your online shopping cart? That small picture, maybe a basket or a bag, holding all the things you wish for. It's not a real cart. Here's the thing. It's just a digital list on your screen where you gather items you might buy. But this simple idea changed everything. For a long time, buying meant going to a store or ordering from a catalog. Imagine finding a cool gadget, then mailing a form and waiting weeks for it. The world felt smaller then. Choices limited. So here's what happened. Someone imagined a different way, a way to pick things from endless options, from anywhere, anytime. This wasn't just about selling, it was about giving everyone more possibilities, connecting desires to products with a speed no one had known. Think of it like a tiny seed. Plant it, and it seems small. With the right care, that little seed grows into a massive tree, changing the landscape. That digital shopping cart was like that seed. It started small, a simple website function, but it grew and grew until it felt like it truly exploded, not with fire, but with a huge burst of choice, convenience, and opportunity for everyone. It reshaped how businesses worked. Crafters could reach customers across oceans. Shoppers gained power to compare and pick. It felt almost like magic, but it was a smart, simple idea, built with code. And that's why it matters. It reminds us that sometimes the biggest changes come from the quietest, most humble ideas. A plain basket icon, an empty list, slowly but surely transformed how we live, shop, and imagine what's possible. When computers got their own smarts, have you ever wondered if computers could actually think for themselves? Not just follow orders, but truly learn, decide, and even create something new. For many years, computers were like incredibly fast, incredibly obedient servants. They did exactly what we told them to do, every single step, with perfect accuracy. But deep inside the minds of scientists and dreamers, a different idea was growing. What if machines could look at information, figure out patterns, and make their own choices, almost like a brain that was learning? This wasn't just about building faster calculators or better word processors. This was about teaching computers how to understand the world in their own way, to see connections and meaning. Imagine your favorite streaming service. How does it always seem to know what you might like next? It's not magic. It's a computer program that learned from millions of other people's choices and your own past habits. It finds hidden links and suggests things for you. It's like having a friend who knows your tastes so well. They can predict what you'd enjoy. This idea, called artificial intelligence, isn't new. People have imagined thinking machines for hundreds of years in stories and philosophy, but only recently did it truly become real. We began to build systems that could learn from experience, adapt to new situations, and even solve problems we hadn't specifically programmed them for. Here's the thing. It wasn't about replacing human smarts, but about giving us a powerful new kind of partner. A partner that could help us process huge amounts of information, find patterns we couldn't see, and even spark completely new ideas. It's a strange and wonderful feeling, realizing that these machines are now learning alongside us. It makes us pause and think about what thinking really means, and what it truly means to be human in a world where our tools are becoming so incredibly clever. It reminds us that knowledge isn't just about what we already know, but about the endless, exciting possibilities of what we can discover. And that's a journey we're only just beginning, exploring the universe and ourselves, with these smart new companions by our side. Making money from music downloads. Have you ever thought about the songs that fill your life, the ones that make you dance, or help you feel understood? For a long time, if you wanted to own music, you bought something you could hold, a cassette tape, a CD, a record. These were treasures, physical pieces of art you could touch. But then, the internet began to hum with new possibilities, and everything started to change. Here's the thing. The idea of music downloads, of getting a song from the internet to your device, wasn't always a simple, legal business. In the early days of the internet, people started sharing music files for free, often without artists getting paid. It felt exciting to have so much music at your fingertips, but it also felt a little unfair to the people who created it. There was a big question floating in the air. How do we pay for art in a world where it can be copied endlessly? Then came a clever idea, one that reshaped an entire industry. What if we sold single songs, or whole albums, as digital files? You wouldn't get a shiny disc, but you would get the music instantly, legally, and for a fair price. This allowed companies like Apple, with its iTunes store, to create a massive business. They offered a simple way to buy music, track by track, or album by album. It was convenient, and it made sure artists and songwriters could earn money from their work. Think about it like this. It's similar to wanting to read a special book. Before, you might have gone to a library or bookstore to find a physical copy. You could feel the paper, smell the ink. Now, you can often download that same book onto a tablet or phone in seconds. It's still the same story, the same words, but the way you get it, the way you own it, feels completely different. This shift changed not just how we buy music, but how we connect with it. Does music feel less real if it lives only as data on a screen? Or does its instant availability make it even more powerful? A constant companion, a shared language always ready to play. It makes you quietly wonder about the true value of a melody, and the silent business that allows it to travel directly to your heart, no matter where you are. The big idea behind streaming movies. Have you ever truly thought about the quiet magic of watching a movie, right when you want it, on whatever screen you choose? It's something we often take for granted now, but not so long ago, watching a film meant a trip. You'd gather your family, head to a big theater, maybe buy popcorn, and settle in for a shared experience. Later, it changed a bit. You'd drive to a video store, walk up and down aisles, hoping the movie you wanted wasn't already checked out. You'd hold that tape or shiny disc in your hands, knowing you only had it for a few days. There was a sense of waiting, of planning, of a physical journey, just to enjoy a story. But here's the thing. Humans have always wanted stories to be closer, easier to reach. The big idea behind streaming movies wasn't just about faster delivery. It tapped into a much deeper feeling. It's about the desire for connection, for instant access to any world, any adventure, without limits. Think of it like this. Imagine needing to walk to a community well every time you needed a drink of water. Now, picture someone building pipes directly to every home, so fresh water flows right from a tap whenever you need it. That's what streaming did for movies. It brought the flow of stories directly to you. This new way of thinking wasn't about owning one movie. It was about offering a vast, endless library, always open. It took away the waiting, the driving, the need to own a physical copy. It let you decide, in that very moment, which story you wanted to live. This sudden freedom, this power to explore any narrative with just a few clicks, felt like a silent wish granted. What started as a smart business move grew into something more. It gave us instant windows into countless lives, different places, and untold dreams. It gently reminds us how much we need stories, and how they help us understand ourselves and the world. One quiet evening, one shared laugh, or one tear at a time. A social network's huge payday. Have you ever stopped to think about why a place like Instagram or TikTok could be worth billions of dollars? It's not just the fancy apps or the cool filters. The real treasure, the hidden gem, is us. It's the way we connect, share our lives, and find each other online. For a very long time, humans have needed to gather. We sat around campfires, sharing stories under the stars. We met in village squares, trading goods and gossip. These social networks are just the newest form of that age-old human desire to be part of something, to belong. When millions of us come together, sharing laughter, tears, and ideas, we create a powerful kind of magic. This magic, this huge gathering of people and their attention, is what businesses want. They pay big money to reach all those eyes and ears, to show their products or ideas. Here's how it works. Imagine your school's biggest, most popular club. Maybe it's the drama club, full of creative kids, or the robotics club, bursting with clever ideas. If a company wanted to sell costumes or new robot parts, they'd definitely want to talk to that club. A social network is like that, but on a super huge scale. It's a giant club for almost everyone, everywhere. And the people in it, the friends, the artists, the gamers, the thinkers, you are the true value. So, when a company like Facebook buys another like Instagram for a massive amount of money, they're not just buying an app, they're buying the incredible network of connections, the shared moments, the emotional bonds that people have formed. It reminds us that while money can measure these things in a deal, the genuine connections we make, the friendships we build, are truly priceless. They are the heartbeat of our lives, something far more precious than any billion-dollar deal. The deal for the world's biggest hotel chain. Imagine you're far away from home, in a totally new city. What's the first thing you truly long for? A place that feels safe, a soft bed, a moment of quiet peace. Right. Well, some of the biggest business deals are about providing exactly that feeling, but on a massive scale. We're talking about hotel chains. Not just one hotel, but thousands of them, spread all over the world, each one promising a similar experience. And here's the thing. Sometimes, one giant hotel company buys another giant hotel company. This particular deal wasn't just about buying buildings. It was like gathering thousands of individual promises of comfort and bringing them all under one roof. Even if that roof was really just an idea. It wasn't about shiny new lobbies or fancy swimming pools at first. It was about connecting countless doorways where people could find rest. Think about it like this. You know how your school might have many different classrooms, but they all share the same goal, to help you learn and feel safe. This was like combining many schools of comfort into one super school for travelers. For thousands of years, humans have journeyed, from ancient travelers seeking shelter in humble inns, to modern-day adventurers exploring new places. The need for a welcoming stop has always been there. This deal magnified that ancient human wish. It created a vast network, a kind of global blanket, where millions of people could find a moment of peace, a familiar feeling, no matter how far they'd traveled. So here's what happened. A single company became the biggest provider of that quiet, temporary home feeling for so many. It's a powerful thought, isn't it? That even in the busiest, most unfamiliar places, there's a quiet door waiting to open for you, offering a small, comforting slice of belonging. It's a simple promise, but one that touches deep into what we all need, a safe space to rest, to be ourselves, even if just for a night. When food delivery got seriously big, have you ever felt that deep, rumbling hunger, but just couldn't imagine stepping out the door, that quiet wish for a warm meal to just appear? For centuries, this was a dream for most, a luxury only for kings. But then, something shifted. It wasn't just about calling for a pizza anymore. It became about bringing almost any restaurant, any dish, right to your doorstep. This wasn't just a service. It was a quiet revolution of comfort, changing how we eat and how we live our hurried lives. Here's the thing. People have always wanted ease. From ancient times, if you could afford it, someone else handled your chores. Food delivery, in its modern form, grew from a simple idea. What if you could have restaurant-quality food without the fuss? It started small, with local places. But when smartphones arrived, they linked hungry people to countless kitchens. This created a whole new world, a network stretching across cities like invisible veins, carrying sustenance and connection. Think of it like this. Your brain uses tiny electrical signals to tell your body what to do. If those signals are slow, everything feels harder. Food delivery sped up the connection between hunger and satisfaction. It took away the friction, the effort. It made time itself feel more valuable. Suddenly, those evenings when you were tired from school or sports, or your parents were swamped with work, didn't mean a sad, empty fridge. It meant a world of flavors, just a tap away. So, when that steaming bag arrives, remember, it's more than just food. It's a moment of peace, a tiny victory against a busy world. It shows how much we value our time, our comfort, and that shared human need for nourishment, gently brought to us. It's a quiet understanding that sometimes, just sometimes, we need the world to come to us, offering warmth and a little bit of care, and that's a powerful feeling. Getting rich from ride shares. Have you ever been somewhere and just wished you had a ride? Maybe to a friend's house across town, or after a school event when your parents were busy. For a long time, if you didn't have your own car, you had to call a taxi. Taxis were fine, but sometimes they were expensive, or hard to find. Then, a few years ago, something really interesting started. Companies like Uber and Lyft came along. Here's how it worked. They didn't buy thousands of cars themselves. Instead, they built simple apps for smartphones. These apps connected regular people who had a car and wanted to earn some extra money with other regular people who needed a ride. It was a completely new way to get around. Think about it like this. People have always needed to travel. In ancient times, maybe you shared a cart with your neighbor. Later, public buses and trains helped lots of people move at once. But ride shares were different. They used the technology in our pockets, our phones, to create a network of individual drivers and passengers. It showed how much we rely on each other, even strangers, to navigate our daily lives. Imagine you have a really cool bicycle, but you only use it on weekends. Your friend really needs a bike to get to their after-school club, but they don't own one. What if there was an easy way for your friend to use your bike for an hour, pay you a small amount, and you both knew it was safe and fair? That's similar to the idea behind ride shares. They took something many people had, a car sitting idle, and connected it to people who needed it, a quick ride. It makes you think about resources. Do we always need to own everything ourselves? Or can we share access to things we already have? These companies saw a basic human need to move easily from one place to another, and they found a way to meet it, using the cars and phones that were already out there. It reminds us that big ideas often come from seeing simple connections between what people already have and what they truly need. And those connections, when managed well, can create incredible wealth and change the world. How one energy drink took over. Have you ever felt that heavy, dragging feeling, where your eyelids want to close and your brain just can't focus? We all know that feeling. It's like a quiet sigh from your body, asking for a break. But what if a little can of liquid could promise to chase that feeling away? What if it could offer you a boost to get through the day? Here's the thing about how one energy drink became a giant. It wasn't just about the taste or the ingredients. It was about selling an idea that you could push past limits, an idea that tiredness didn't have to win. People long found energy in simple ways, a strong cup of coffee, a quick nap. But this drink offered something different. It offered a lifestyle, a way to keep going when the world asked for more. Think about it like this. Imagine you're building a tower with blocks. You're almost done, but you're so tired your hands shake. This drink, in a way, promised a steady hand, a fresh burst of focus to place that final block. It tapped into a deep human need, the wish to achieve, to perform, to not miss out. It connected with the quiet fear of falling behind, of not being enough, and that's why it matters. This drink wasn't just selling sugar and caffeine. It sold the belief that you could be more, do more. It offered a kind of temporary magic, a swift answer to a common problem. But it also makes us wonder, doesn't it? What does it truly mean to find our energy? Is it always in a can, or is there a deeper well inside us we can learn to draw from? Sometimes, big successes aren't just about what's inside the bottle. They're about the hopeful story we tell ourselves when we drink it. It's a reminder of how powerfully our feelings and hopes can shape what we buy, and why. When news companies became one big family, have you ever stopped to think about where all your news comes from? Not just the app on your phone, but who actually owns the company that made the app. Imagine a world where every different newspaper, every TV channel, and every website you visit for news was owned by just a few very powerful families or giant businesses. This is kind of what happened. Over time, many separate news companies, each with its own way of telling stories, started to join together. It was like many small, independent bakeries, each making their own special bread, suddenly being bought by one huge corporation. They still make bread, but the recipes and the way they think about baking might become very similar. For a long time, back when newspapers were king, there were hundreds of different voices, all reporting on the world. People could pick and choose, comparing what one paper said to another. This gave everyone a chance to hear many sides of a story. But as the world changed, and as businesses grew bigger, rich people or large companies started buying up smaller news outlets. They saw a chance to make a lot of money, and maybe to shape how people saw the world. Think about it like this. You have a playlist of your favorite songs. Imagine if suddenly, every single one of those artists, no matter how different their music, was signed to the exact same record label, and that label only wanted songs that sounded a certain way. Your playlist might still have good songs, but they might all start to blend together, losing their unique spark. The variety, the unexpectedness, the rich mix of sounds would slowly disappear. This shift in news wasn't just about money, it was about something deeper. It touched the very heart of how we understand truth and the world around us. When fewer voices speak, and fewer hands guide the stories, it asks us to really think. Are we hearing the full, complex song of the world, or just a simpler melody? It makes us wonder what parts of the story might be left out, or what feelings might be missed, when so many different voices become part of one big family. Selling a video game for billions. Have you ever played a video game that felt like a whole new world? Not just a game, but a place you could almost live in. Think about the people who made it. They started with an idea, maybe a doodle on a napkin, and poured years of their lives, their energy, and their dreams into creating that digital universe. It's like building something with your own hands, piece by careful piece, until it stands tall and beautiful. Here's the thing. Sometimes, these incredible creations become so popular, so deeply loved, that they turn into something worth billions of dollars. And then, a big company might come along, wanting to buy that entire world, that whole game, from its original creators. Imagine spending your childhood drawing a comic book series, giving it your secret hopes and favorite characters. It's your story. But then, years later, a huge movie studio offers you more money than you can ever imagine, to own all the rights, to tell new stories with your characters. It's an unbelievable moment. This is what happens when a video game sells for billions. It's not just about money changing hands. It's about a creator's journey, watching their beloved creation grow bigger than they ever imagined. It's a bittersweet feeling, like sending a child out into the world on their own. You've given it everything, and now it will have a life separate from you, shaped by new hands. It's a reminder that even the most playful ideas, born from imagination, can hold astonishing value and become monumental deals, influencing countless lives. It shows us how deeply human dreams can connect with the world of business, creating something truly immense. The smartwatch that paid off big time. Have you ever stopped to think about what you carry with you every single day? Maybe your phone, your backpack. But what about that small circle on your wrist? For hundreds of years, a watch simply told us the time. It was a tool, a simple guide. But what if that guide could do so much more? Here's the thing. A quiet idea sparked in someone's mind. What if we could take all the power of our phones, all the ways we connect and learn, and put it into something small, something always there, always ready? That's how the smartwatch truly began its journey. It wasn't just about telling you it was 3 p.m. It was about telling you how your body was doing, what messages were waiting, or even guiding you through a new city. It was a tiny whisper of information, right on your pulse. Throughout history, people have always wanted to understand their world, to measure it. From ancient sundials to giant clocks in town squares, we've tried to capture time. But with the smartwatch, it became about capturing you, your steps, your heart, your connection to others. It brought the vast digital world a little closer, making it feel personal and immediate. Think about a time you felt a little lost, maybe in a big school or on a new team. Now, imagine having a little helper right there with you, quietly giving you important updates, reminding you of what you need to do, or even just encouraging you, like a silent coach, always on your side. That small device made people feel more in control, more connected to their own lives and the world around them. So, this wasn't just a gadget, it was a quiet revolution in how we experience our days. It reminded us that even the smallest ideas, born from a simple wish to know more or connect better, can grow into something truly huge. It shows us that what we value most, our health, our time, our connections, can become the very things that lead to unexpected and incredible success. And sometimes, the biggest impact comes from the smallest, most personal invention. When headphones became a mega brand, have you ever just wanted to disappear into your favorite song, making the world around you fade away? It's a powerful feeling, like having a secret soundtrack just for you. But here's the thing. Headphones weren't always about that deep, personal connection. For a long time, they were just tools. They helped sound engineers hear better, or let you listen to a radio without bothering anyone. They were practical, but nobody thought they could become something truly huge, a symbol of who we are. So, how did a simple gadget designed to carry sound become a billion-dollar empire? It started when someone realized headphones could be more than just functional. They could be a statement. They could be cool. Think about it like this. A plain school backpack holds your books, and that's its job. But then you see a backpack with a cool design, maybe from a brand you admire, or one covered in patches that tell your story. It still holds your books, but now it says something about you. It shows your style, your personality. It connects you to a certain vibe or group. That's what happened with headphones. People like Dr. Dre, a famous musician, looked at those plain listening devices and saw something else. He saw the chance to create headphones that sounded great, sure, but also looked amazing. They became a part of fashion, a way to show off your taste and even your status. They weren't just for listening, they were for being seen. They offered a kind of quiet rebellion, a way to carry your world with you, separate but connected. This transformed a basic electronic item into a must-have accessory, making billions because it touched something inside us. It was about expressing ourselves, finding our rhythm, and having our own space in a busy world, all wrapped up in a pair of cups over our ears. The day your favorite candy switched owners, have you ever stopped to think about that candy bar you love? The one that feels like comfort, like a small, happy memory. What if, one day, the company that made it quietly sold it to someone else? Not the candy itself, but the entire company, the whole idea behind it. It's a strange thought, because the candy looks the same, tastes the same, but a huge change has happened behind the scenes. A quiet shift in who holds its future. Here's the thing. Businesses often buy other businesses. It's called an acquisition, and it happens all the time, even with brands that feel like family. Imagine a world where kingdoms traded not just land, but the very stories and traditions woven into them. That's a bit like what happens when a company that makes something you adore is bought. The new owner might have different ideas, different ways of doing things. Even if you never see those changes directly on the wrapper, it's an invisible hand guiding something that means a lot to you. Think about your favorite local pizza place, the one with the unique secret sauce and the owner who always remembers your order. If a huge, national pizza chain suddenly bought it, the menu might stay the same for a while. The walls might still be the same color, but something would be different, wouldn't it? The special feeling, the quiet history, the heart of that place would change. It's a subtle current, moving beneath the surface, but you can sense it. That's how it feels when a beloved brand changes hands. This kind of deal, a big company buying a smaller, cherished one, isn't just about money. It's about legacies, about the soul of a product that has been part of people's lives for years. It's about the unwritten story that comes with every bite of that candy. The people who poured their dreams into creating it, and now, different people are in charge of its journey forward. It's a quiet moment, often unseen, but deeply important to the path of everything we consume. So, the next time you reach for that familiar treat, take a moment, realize that its story is bigger than just sugar and flavor. It holds the echoes of many hands, many dreams, and sometimes, a deal that silently changed its destiny. Making a fortune from fast food. Have you ever felt that deep, rumbling hunger, the kind that makes you want something good, right now? It's a feeling we all know, and here's the thing. Some people saw that simple, urgent need and built entire empires. Fast food isn't just about burgers and fries. It's about understanding a very human longing, the desire for quick comfort, for a moment of easy satisfaction in a busy world. Think back to a time when people had to cook every meal from scratch. It took hours. So, when the idea came along to serve food quickly, consistently, and cheaply, it was like a quiet explosion. It tapped into something ancient within us, the need for sustenance without fuss. We want more time, more ease. This concept started small, often with just a humble stand, but it carried a powerful promise: delicious food, delivered fast. Imagine you're solving a puzzle, but instead of pieces, you have people's time and hunger. What if you could make a system where everyone gets what they need, without waiting forever? That's kind of like how fast food grew. It's the simple genius of finding a pattern. People get hungry at certain times. They want familiar tastes, and they don't want to spend all their money. It's like how a simple melody can become a hit song, repeating easy notes that everyone remembers. And so, fortunes were made, not by inventing new foods, but by perfecting the way we get them. It teaches us something quiet but profound. Sometimes, the biggest ideas aren't complicated. They're just simple solutions to universal needs, built with care and a deep understanding of what makes us feel good, even for a moment. It shows us that even the simplest comforts can create enormous value, touching millions of lives, one meal at a time. The airline deal that flew high. Have you ever looked up at a plane soaring across the sky and wished you could be on it? For a long time, flying was a dream only for a few. It felt far away, a secret club high above the clouds. But then, a clever idea came along, turning those distant dreams into everyday trips for millions. This wasn't just about money. It was about connecting families, making our world feel a little smaller. Here's the thing. In the beginning, air travel cost a lot. Only the truly rich could afford it. Imagine if your favorite video game was so expensive, only a few could buy it. Airplanes were like that exciting, but not for most. Someone saw this and wondered, what if flying could be normal? A simple way to get from one city to another, or even across oceans. So, a big business deal happened. It wasn't about a new plane. It was about how to sell tickets differently, make the system cheaper. It meant rethinking routes and prices. This was like a popular singer only playing giant, expensive concerts. Then, someone found a way for them to play smaller, affordable shows everywhere. More people could enjoy the music and feel connected. This deal changed everything for airlines. It slowly brought down ticket prices. Suddenly, visiting family far away wasn't just a wish. A trip to a new state became possible for many. Think of it like a wild path. Then someone clears it, making it easy to walk. This deal cleared the path for more people to fly, creating a huge network of connection across the world. It reminds us that big successes aren't always about inventing something totally new. Sometimes, they're about making something wonderful, important, available to everyone. It's about seeing a barrier and finding a simple way past it, not just for profit, but because it helps bring us closer. That feeling of connection, of being part of a bigger world, that's a deep kind of richness. How a map app got a huge price tag. Have you ever felt a little flutter of worry, that tiny knot in your stomach, when you're in a new place and don't quite know where you are? Maybe you're searching for a friend's house, or a new cafe everyone is talking about. That feeling, that moment of not knowing, can be a bit scary. And then, you pull out your phone, open a map app, and suddenly, that worry just melts away. You see the path, clear and simple. Here's the thing, that sense of knowing, of being guided, has always been deeply important to us as humans. For thousands of years, people have looked to the stars, drawn crude maps on cave walls, or used compasses to find their way. Why? Because knowing where you are, and where you're going, isn't just about directions. It's about feeling safe. It's about being connected to others, about reaching your destination, about feeling like you belong. Imagine you're at a huge amusement park, separated from your family. Your heart might race a little, but if you could instantly see where they are and how to get to them, that panic would vanish, replaced by a warm wave of relief. That's what a map app does, day in and day out, for millions of people. It's like having a trusted, quiet friend in your pocket, always ready to show you the way. It helps you find not just places, but also the people and experiences that matter most. So, when we talk about a map app being worth billions of dollars, it's not just about the lines of code or the bright screen. It's about the profound human need it fulfills, the need to navigate, to connect, to feel secure, and to always find our way home. The true value isn't just the map itself, but but the peace of mind it offers, the feeling of never being truly lost. Building an empire on home goods. Have you ever really thought about the things that make your house feel like a home? It's not just the big stuff, like the roof or the walls. It's often the small, everyday items. The soft blanket on your couch, the mug you drink from, the warm towel after a shower. These seem simple, right? But here's the thing. Understanding how much people value comfort and belonging in their own spaces can lead to something truly enormous in business. This idea of home goods isn't about grand, expensive artworks. It's about the everyday fabric of our lives. Companies that learn to make and sell these items well, at a good price, and with a little touch of care, can build an empire. They tap into a very deep, human desire to feel safe, cozy, and truly at home. People have always wanted their personal spaces to be comfortable and inviting. From ancient woven mats to modern furniture, creating a warm place to rest is a basic human need that has shaped cultures for thousands of years. This isn't just about luxury, it's about finding peace and safety. Think about building a Lego house. Each little brick by itself isn't much, but when you put hundreds, even thousands, of those simple bricks together, you create something amazing and strong. Building a business on home goods is kind of like that. Each item, a good pillow, a sturdy kitchen spoon, a pretty plant pot, is a brick. A company that provides many excellent bricks for people's homes can build a structure just as impressive as any skyscraper. It teaches us that great success doesn't always come from inventing super complex new technologies. Sometimes, the most powerful ideas come from simply understanding what makes life a little bit better, a little bit softer, for everyone, every single day. It's about meeting a quiet, constant human need for warmth and belonging, turning simple comfort into something truly monumental. When a phone maker said goodbye with a bang, have you ever thought about what happens when something everyone knows and relies on, something that seems too big to ever fail, just doesn't make it? Imagine a time when almost every single person you saw, from your parents to your teachers, carried a phone from just one company. This was Nokia. For years, they built phones that felt like they could survive anything. They were tough, simple, and everywhere. People loved them. It felt like they'd always be around, like an ancient mountain that would never crumble. But here's the thing. The world keeps moving. A new kind of phone, with a big touch screen and amazing apps, started to appear. These were smartphones. Nokia, with all its success, didn't quite jump on this new idea fast enough. Or maybe they just moved a little too slowly. It was almost like they were still perfecting strong, reliable horses, when everyone else was suddenly building sleek cars. It's a bit sad, isn't it, to see something so mighty, so familiar, struggle to keep up. It wasn't that their phones became bad overnight, or that people suddenly stopped liking them. It was just that the ground beneath the whole world shifted, and Nokia didn't shift with it fast enough. Their goodbye wasn't a loud explosion, but more like a slow, quiet fading, leaving behind a big, empty space where they once stood so tall. Think about a really popular band that plays all the school dances. Everyone loves their songs, and they're always the highlight. But then new types of music get popular, and new bands start playing those. If your favorite band keeps playing the exact same songs, never trying anything new, while everyone else is moving on to fresh sounds, they might slowly lose their audience. It's not that the old songs are bad, but people want to hear what's next, what's new. This story makes us think that even the most successful things need to keep changing, like a tree growing new leaves each year. It tells us that nothing lasts forever without evolving, and sometimes, even the best of us can miss the next big wave if we're not careful. This quiet farewell from a giant company reminds us to always be curious, always be ready to learn, and always look for what's coming next. Because even in goodbyes, there are lessons for new beginnings. When a chip company became a goldmine, have you ever thought about what truly gives life to our digital world? It's not just the screen or the cool apps. Deep inside, tiny, silent workers do incredible things. These are computer chips, small pieces of silicon, like the brains of our electronics. Think about it. Every text, every video, every game, it all relies on these little chips. There was a time when true wealth meant digging for actual gold, or owning vast lands. That felt solid, something you could hold. But slowly, the world began to change. People realized new ideas, smart inventions, and unseen technology could be worth far more. This is where a certain chip company found its breathtaking fortune. They weren't digging in the earth. They were designing the very future, piece by tiny piece. They made the invisible engines that powered the digital age for everyone. Imagine a towering skyscraper. You see the shiny windows, the impressive height. But here's the thing. The real strength that keeps it standing is the foundation. It's hidden deep underground, unseen, quiet, but absolutely vital. Without that solid base, the whole building just crumbles. And that's what this chip company did. They built the unseen, strong foundation for our modern world. For every computer, every smart device we touch, they made the fundamental parts everyone else needed for amazing inventions. It's a quiet, powerful truth, isn't it? That sometimes, the most profound impact, the greatest kind of wealth, comes not from the flashy, obvious things we admire. Instead, it often comes from the essential, hidden pieces that allow everything else to truly thrive. It reminds us that real value often lies in smart thinking, in seeing what others can't, and in building the quiet, powerful backbone of progress. We walk through a world powered by these unseen wonders every day. And in their silent, persistent work, we truly find a new kind of gold, glittering brighter than any old nugget. The deal for the online auction site. The deal for the online auction site. Have you ever looked at something old, a forgotten toy, a dusty book, and wondered if someone, somewhere, would truly want it? How do you even find that person? It feels like magic, doesn't it? This story is about a deal that made that magic real for millions. This deal was for an online auction site. It's a place where anyone can sell things, and others can bid. Imagine a huge, never-ending garage sale you could visit from your computer. It connects someone selling old teacups with a collector across the country, searching for that exact set. This site is built on the simple human wish to trade, to find and to value things differently. Here's the thing, humans have always traded. From ancient marketplaces, where people swapped fish for tools, to village fairs exchanging harvests. This idea has been part of us for thousands of years. It's rooted in our basic need to get what we need and share what we have. This online deal brought that ancient marketplace right into our homes, bigger than anyone imagined. Think about this. Maybe you have a rare trading card you don't play with. You know someone would love it. Before this site, it might have stayed hidden. But then, this online auction came along. You could put that card up, and people from all over could see it. They could decide its worth to them. It wasn't just about money. It was about finding that perfect match, connecting items to their rightful owners. So, this deal wasn't only about selling stuff. It created a worldwide connection, a shared understanding of value. It showed us that even small, everyday items can spark joy or fulfill a wish. It reminds us how we rely on each other, in ways big and small, to bring meaning to the things we hold dear. The online flea market that got rich. Have you ever looked at something old? Maybe a dusty toy from your childhood, or a book your parents used to read, and wondered if it held a secret story, or even if it might be worth something to someone else. For a long time, if you wanted to sell an item you no longer needed, or find a unique treasure, you'd head to a buzzing flea market, hoping for the best. But here's the thing, what if you could do all that from your own home, reaching people across an entire country, or even the world? Imagine a place where anyone could set up their own little shop, right from their computer, turning their old stuff into new opportunities. This idea, simple as it sounds, changed everything. It took the ancient human act of trading and brought it into a new age. Humans have always found value in exchange. From the very first village markets where people traded extra crops for tools, to grand bazaars filled with exotic spices and silks, we are wired to swap. It's a basic part of who we are. This desire to find what we want and pass on what we no longer need. This online marketplace just made that ancient tradition bigger, faster, and more personal. Think about it this way. Maybe you have a rare trading card you don't collect anymore, or a special edition video game you've outgrown. Instead of it just sitting in a drawer, this online space connects you with another person, far away, who deeply wants that exact item. It's like finding the perfect new home for something you once loved, knowing it will bring joy to someone else. And that's why it matters. This online flea market isn't just about billions of dollars. It's about millions of small connections being made every single day. It reminds us that things often hold more than just their original price tag. They carry stories, memories, and the potential to spark happiness in a new owner. It shows us that value is often in the eye of the beholder. and that even forgotten items can find new life and purpose again. From delivery boxes to big bucks, have you ever thought about a package sitting on your doorstep? It's just a box, right? A simple cardboard container, perhaps taped up, holding something you ordered. But sometimes, these everyday things hold a secret, a quiet power that reshaped our world and created incredible wealth. That secret is how something so ordinary becomes part of a massive worldwide system. It's about people seeing a simple human need, getting things from one place to another, and imagining a way to build something enormous. Not always a flashy invention, but a smart system. For centuries, people just carried goods. Then they used animals, carts, trains, and ships. Each small improvement was a tiny idea that made life easier, more connected. And here's the thing. Making basic needs simpler and faster often creates immense value, touching everyone's lives. It's not about inventing something new, but doing something old, much better. Think about packing your backpack for school. You organize your books, pens, and lunch neatly. Now, imagine sending that backpack, safely and quickly, to a friend living far away. You'd need a sturdy container, a way to track it, and a reliable person to get it there on time. Picture doing that for millions of different items, every single day, all over the world. That's what companies like UPS or FedEx mastered. They took that simple idea of getting things from here to there and turned it into an amazing, intricate dance of trucks, planes, ships, and countless people. It's a quiet reminder that big changes, impactful ideas, often start by looking closely at the small, often ignored parts of our daily lives. Things we see every day, even a simple delivery box, might hold the blueprint for something incredible. True genius is found not always in inventing the unbelievable, but in looking at what's right in front of us, and asking, with a thoughtful heart, how can this be made better, faster, and more trustworthy? It speaks to the deep human desire to connect, to deliver on a promise, and to make life smoother for everyone, one carefully handled box at a time. The deal that made gaming a billion-dollar business. Have you ever thought about what makes a simple game, something you play for fun, become a massive world-changing business? It wasn't one giant flick of a switch. Here's the thing. For a long time, games were just games. They were simple, like the arcade machines your grandparents might remember, with blinking lights and bleeping sounds. People saw them as toys, mostly for kids, a quick distraction, and that was fine. But then, something started to shift. It wasn't a single deal in a boardroom. Not really. It was more like an idea, a feeling that began to grow. Someone looked at those simple games and saw something more. They saw stories waiting to be told, friendships waiting to be made, and whole new worlds just on the other side of a screen. It was like someone looking at a small, shy sapling and understanding that it would one day be a giant tree, reaching for the sky. Here's what happened. People realized that playing wasn't just for wasting time. Playing helped us learn, helped us imagine. It connected us to others. Think about how you feel when you and your friends team up in a game, working together to beat a challenge. That feeling, that connection, that's powerful, and people were willing to pay for experiences that gave them that feeling. So, the deal wasn't just money changing hands. It was a deal made with our hearts, a recognition that games offered something deeper than just fun. It was about seeing the human need for adventure, for mastering skills, for belonging to a community, and believing that a pixelated world could deliver all of that. And that's why it matters. It reminds us that sometimes the most valuable things start small, almost unnoticed, and grow because someone believed in their quiet power to move us. How one bank got even bigger. Have you ever watched a small stream join another, and suddenly, it's a wider, stronger river? It's a bit like that in the world of big business, especially for banks. Imagine a bank, not just a building, but a massive web of money and trust. How does one of these giants become even more powerful, even more central to our lives? Well, here's the thing. Sometimes, a big bank looks at a smaller bank and thinks, hey, we could be stronger together. It's not about making friends. It's about making business bigger. They might buy out the smaller bank, take over all its branches, all its customers, and all its money. It's like one company just swallows another. This isn't just about more cash. It's about more reach, more control, more say in how the world's money moves. Think about a time you and a friend decided to combine your small allowance money. Suddenly, you had enough to buy that bigger, more exciting snack you both wanted. Two small amounts became one bigger, more effective amount. For banks, this combining means they can offer more loans, serve more towns, and stand stronger against economic storms. They become harder to ignore, too big to fail. As some say, this desire to grow, to merge, it's an old human story. From tribes joining to form nations, to small shops becoming big chains, there's a quiet power in size, a feeling of security, but also a kind of weight. When a bank gets this big, it holds so many hopes, so many futures in its hands. It's a vast ocean, and every single drop of water, every person's savings, contributes to its immense, silent power. It makes you wonder about the ripple effects, doesn't it? About how something so big started as so many smaller parts. The story of the theme park buyout. Have you ever walked into a theme park and felt that special spark of excitement? The roller coasters, the characters, the magic. Someone poured their heart into creating all that. But what happens when that creation, that whole world of fun, suddenly belongs to someone new? Here's the thing. In business, a buyout is when one company purchases another. It's like a bigger kid buying all the cool action figures from a smaller kid. Suddenly, they belong to the new owner. With a theme park, it's not just about toys. It's about memories, its creators' dreams, and the joy of its visitors. Think about your favorite small bakery. The owner knows you and your favorite cookie. Now, imagine a giant corporation buys it. They might change recipes, use cheaper ingredients, or replace the friendly owner. The bakery is still there, but something special might be gone. It's not just about selling bread. It's about the feeling. That's often how it feels with a theme park buyout. The original builders dreamt of creating a place for families to laugh. They imagined every detail, from the entrance to the smallest flower. It was more than a business. It was a vision. But a new company might come along, seeing only profit. They see rides, land, ticket sales, just numbers, not the magic. And that's why it matters. When these big deals happen, it's not just money changing hands. It's a place's soul, a dream's legacy, being weighed. It makes you wonder, can a new owner truly grasp the joy and imagination that made it special? Or will making billions dim the vibrant colors of childhood wonder, making it feel ordinary? It's a quiet shift, often missed, but it can change the feeling of a place forever. When a movie studio found a new home, have you ever felt a little lost, like a piece of you didn't quite fit where you were? It's a feeling we all know, a quiet longing for a place where you truly belong. This isn't just a human feeling. Sometimes, even big companies feel it. Imagine a famous movie studio, a place filled with stories and dreams. For a long time, it created magic. But maybe it started to feel a bit, alone. Or perhaps it needed a stronger hand, a bigger family, to help its dreams truly soar. Here's the thing. Businesses, like people, need the right environment to thrive. It's not just about money. It's about a shared vision, a place where ideas can grow without limits. This studio, with its rich history of films, found itself in a situation. It needed a new home, a new parent company that could give it the resources and belief it needed. This kind of change can feel scary, like packing up your whole life and moving to a new town. But sometimes, it's the only way to find your true potential. Think about a small, talented musician. They might write beautiful songs in their bedroom, but when they join a band with other musicians who truly understand their sound, and they sign with a record label that believes in their talent, suddenly their music can reach millions. The studio was like that musician. It had the talent, the stories, the magic. It just needed the right stage, the right support system, to become everything it was meant to be. It found that home in a deal that brought it into a larger family, a family that saw its worth and promised it a future brighter than ever. And that's why it matters. Life often asks us to adapt, to let go of what was familiar for the promise of what could be. For this studio, finding a new home wasn't just a business transaction. It was a journey to rediscover its purpose. It shows us that even the biggest dreams sometimes need a new beginning, a new place to spread their wings and remind the world what they are truly capable of. It's a quiet lesson about belonging and how sometimes the greatest strength comes from finding your true place. The deal for the team you root for. Have you ever stopped to think about your favorite sports team, the one that makes your heart pound and your voice hoarse? We see the players, the coaches, the uniforms, and the roaring crowd. But there's another story unfolding far from the field, one about huge sums of money changing hands. Here's the thing. the team you cheer for isn't just a group of athletes. It's a business, a valuable asset bought and sold like any company. Think about it this way. For a long time, sports teams were often owned by local families, people deeply connected to their city. They loved the game, and the team was part of the community's soul. But over time, as sports grew bigger, the money involved grew too. Suddenly, owning a team wasn't just a hobby, it was a serious investment. These deals, sometimes worth billions, shape everything from the stadium where you watch to the players on the roster. It's like when you love a video game, right? You play it for hours, you care about the characters and the story. But a giant company made that game, and they sell it, and they make money from it. That company made a deal to create it, to market it, to get it to you. The game is art and fun, but it's also a product. And that's why it matters for your team. When someone buys a team, they're buying the dreams, the history, the passion of thousands of fans. They're buying a piece of what makes a city sing. This can bring new energy or new worries. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How does the love we have for a team fit with the cold, hard numbers of a business deal? Perhaps it shows us that even the most passionate parts of our lives, the things that stir our souls, are often connected to a much larger world of money and decisions. It doesn't make the cheers less real, but it adds another layer to what it means to be a fan. The gym gear that made big money. Have you ever noticed how wearing certain clothes can just change your whole mood, or make you feel ready for something important? Maybe it's your favorite sports jersey, or even just a super comfy hoodie for a chill day at home. That small feeling, that quiet shift in how you see yourself, or what you're about to do, is exactly what some brilliant minds turned into billions of dollars. They understood that gym clothes aren't just about covering your body, they're about how they make you feel. Don't think about it. For most of history, if you wanted to run or lift, you just wore whatever old clothes you had lying around. But then, as more and more people started seeing exercise, not just as a chore, but as a way to improve themselves, to be stronger, faster, healthier, what you wore to do that became really important. Companies realized that if they could make clothes that helped you feel more capable, more confident, even more like a true athlete, people would want them. It connected with a deep human desire to be better. This idea isn't new, really. It's like how a scientist might wear a clean lab coat. It's not just about keeping their clothes clean. It's about getting into the mindset of serious work, feeling professional and ready to discover something new. Or how a musician might pick up their special warning guitar before a concert. They could play on any old instrument, but their guitar helps them feel the music more deeply, connect with the performance. The gear, whether it's clothes or an instrument, helps set your mind for success. So, the big money in gym gear isn't just about selling fabric or cool designs. It's about understanding a quiet human wish, the desire to feel ready, to feel capable, to push your limits, and to believe in your own strength. It reminds us that often, the most successful business ideas aren't about complicated inventions, but about connecting with those simple, powerful feelings we all share and giving them a physical form. The company that bought all your cereal. Have you ever stared at the cereal aisle, seeing all those colorful boxes, Frosted Flakes, Lucky Charms, Cheerios, so many choices, right? It feels like each box is from a different company, each one trying its best to win your breakfast heart. But here's the thing, many of those cereals, despite different names and mascots, are actually owned by the same giant company. Imagine one big company, like a huge tree, and each of your favorite cereals is just a different branch. This happens a lot in business. A large company buys smaller ones that make popular products. They do this to grow bigger and have more influence. It's like a collector gathering all the best toys, but for businesses, they want to offer many options, but keep them under one roof. Think about hundreds of years ago. If you wanted bread, you went to one baker. Shoes, one shoemaker. Everything felt local and distinct. But as the world changed, businesses found strength in combining. It's not just about making one thing, but owning many. This idea of expansion, bringing different parts under one roof, is how some of the biggest companies became powerful. It's like a group project at school. Instead of everyone doing tiny, separate reports, one person gathers everyone's ideas and efforts for one big presentation. The main company does something similar. It gathers many different brands to make one very large business. So, the next time you pour your cereal, you might be holding a product from a company that also makes your yogurt or your snacks. It can make you quietly wonder, can't it? How much true choice do we have when so many options come from the same place? It's not necessarily good or bad, just a different way the world works now. It reminds us to look a little deeper, beyond the packaging, and think about the bigger picture. Every small choice we make connects us to this huge world of business. It's something gentle to think about as you start your day. When a pet supply store hit the jackpot, have you ever looked at your pet, your cat, dog, or even a fish, and just felt that deep love? We spend so much on our animal friends, but imagine a regular pet store. How could something so ordinary grow into a giant business, making billions? Here's the thing. It wasn't magic. It was about people understanding a deep love others felt for their pets. Years ago, pets were often just outside animals, but slowly, they moved inside, onto our couches, right into our hearts. They became family. As pets became family, people wanted to treat them that way, not just with basic food, but with comfy beds, fun toys, even special health products. Humans have always cared for creatures, going back to ancient times, sharing caves with wolves. But how we show that care has shifted. It's not just about survival anymore. It's about joy, companionship, and a bond beyond words. Think of it like understanding what your best friend needs. Maybe they're quiet, and you know they need a comforting word or a favorite snack. That simple act of understanding and caring deeply, that's what some businesses realized. They saw owners didn't just need dog food. They needed ways to show love, to keep their pets happy and healthy. So, this pet store sold more than just items. It sold comfort, connection, and a way for people to express love. It reminds us that often, the biggest successes happen when we truly see and care for the unspoken needs of others, whether they have 2 legs or 4, and that's why it matters. The app that helped people connect and made billions. Have you ever felt truly alone, even in a crowded room? Or maybe you've moved schools and suddenly felt a big empty space where your old friends used to be. It's a heavy feeling, isn't it? That deep desire to belong, to find people who understand you. It's one of our oldest feelings. For thousands of years, people lived in small groups, tribes, always knowing everyone around them. You knew your cousins, your neighbors, the people you hunted with, or shared stories with by the fire. Connection was simple, often forced by sheer closeness. But as the world grew bigger, and we moved further apart, keeping those ties became harder. Letters took weeks. Phone calls cost a lot. It was like, suddenly, a vast ocean appeared between you and the people who knew your heart. Then, something new came along. An app, a simple idea born from wanting to make college students feel more connected, grew into a giant. It wasn't about selling products at first. It was about creating a digital space where you could find your old classmates, see what your family was up to across the country, or even discover new friends who shared your weird hobbies. Think of it like this. Imagine your school yearbook, but it magically updates itself every single day, and everyone you've ever known, or ever will know, can be in it, sharing their moments. It takes away that lonely ache, even for a little while. It showed us how much we actually missed seeing those everyday smiles, hearing about a simple achievement, or just knowing someone out there was thinking of us. And because so many of us felt that same ache, that same pull to reconnect, this app, built on something so human and real, grew into something truly massive, making billions of dollars. But the money, in a strange way, was just a reflection of how deeply we all need each other. It showed that our most basic need, the need for connection, is also one of the most powerful forces in the world. The big bet on online learning. Have you ever wished you could learn something new, right now, without waiting for school, like a new instrument, or fixing something tricky? For so long, learning meant being in a specific room, at a set time. But what if the classroom could come to you, wherever you were? That's the big idea behind online learning. It was a huge bet, a gamble, that people would actually pay to learn through a screen, not just for fun, but for real education and skills. Imagine seeing the internet as a giant, open school, not just for games. It felt strange at first, like learning to ride a bike only by watching a video. Could teaching, something so human, really work that way online? Think about how humans have always passed down knowledge, from stories by a fire, to handwritten books, to printing presses spreading words to many. Each step shared learning wider. Online learning is the newest chapter in that ancient story. It's like when you're stuck on a tough math problem in class. Then you find a video online, and someone explains it, and it just clicks. It feels like magic, but it's simply connection. making learning accessible. The biggest challenge, and the biggest win, was trusting that connection. Could students truly connect with teachers and each other from miles apart? Could they find that same inspiration, that spark of understanding? This wasn't just about money. It was about believing in a future where learning wasn't locked behind walls, but flowed freely like a river, open to anyone with a screen and a desire to know. In that quiet, personal space of learning alone, yet connected, a new path for education and business was born. It reminds us that sometimes the deepest understanding comes not from what's loudest, but from what's most accessible. Selling your smart home for a fortune. Have you ever walked into your house and felt like it knew you? Like the lights turned on just right, or the temperature felt perfect, even before you touched a button? This feeling, this sense of a home truly fitting you, is what a smart home promises. But here's the thing. When you sell a house like that, you're not just selling wood and bricks. You're selling a feeling, a whole way of living that has been shaped by your time there. A smart home learns. It remembers your morning coffee routine. It knows when you like your quiet evening light. Over months and years, it becomes less like a machine and more like a quiet partner, making your life smoother. This connection, this personal dance between you and your home, creates a deep kind of value. People have always wanted their homes to be a haven, a place of comfort. Long ago, a home's worth was in its sturdy walls or a warm fireplace. Now, it's also about how it understands your rhythms. Imagine a favorite old journal you kept for years. It holds your secrets, your dreams, your everyday thoughts. To someone else, it's just paper and ink. But to you, it's a piece of your soul, rich with memories. A smart home is like that journal, but for your daily life. It holds the echoes of your habits, the digital whispers of your presence. When you decide to sell it, you are passing on a home that has literally been shaped by human connection, by your connection. So, when someone pays a fortune for your smart home, they aren't just buying clever gadgets. They're buying the promise of a life already made a little easier, a little more personal. They are buying the story that was built there, hoping to weave their own into its smart fabric. It's a quiet reminder that even our technology holds parts of our lives, and letting go means passing on a piece of our past for someone else's future. And that's a deep, beautiful thing. The deal that changed how we talk. Have you ever stopped to think about the simple magic of hearing someone's voice, even when they're miles and miles away? It's something we do every day now, without a second thought. But not so long ago, this kind of instant connection was just a distant dream, a quiet, whispered hope for a world that felt very large and lonely. Before a certain deal brought a new way to communicate, if you wanted to talk to someone across a city, let alone across a country, you'd write a letter. You'd send your words out, and then you'd wait days, sometimes weeks, for a reply. Your thoughts and deepest feelings would travel slowly, like messages in a bottle adrift on a vast, often silent, ocean. Then came a powerful moment, a truly important deal, that didn't just sell a piece of technology, but sold the very idea of instant presence. It was the commercial beginning of the telephone, taking an invention and making it available for everyone. Imagine the first time a person picked up a receiver and heard a voice, clear as day, from someone they loved who was far away. It must have felt like an actual miracle, a shift in the very fabric of life. This wasn't just about wires and electricity. It was about bridging the empty spaces between us, about closing the painful gap, that distance, created in our hearts and minds. Think about how it feels when you're away from someone you care about deeply. Maybe a family member traveling far off, or a friend who moved to a different town. You missed their laughter, their unique way of speaking, their quiet comfort. And then, you hear their voice on the phone. That distinct sound, that special way they say your name, it brings them right back to you, even for a brief moment. It's like a warm, unexpected hug, sent through an invisible thread. It tells you they're okay, and that you're still connected, no matter the miles that separate you. This deal, born from a clever invention, wasn't just about business or new gadgets. It was about something much deeper, our human need to reach out, to share our lives, to feel less alone in the world. It reminds us that even with all the busyness of modern life, a single voice, carried on a simple wire, holds an incredible power. It can make the biggest distances disappear, making our vast world feel a little smaller, a lot more connected, and truly more human. When messaging apps made a ton of cash, have you ever stopped to think about how much a simple hello or a shared joke can truly be worth? It's kind of strange, isn't it? We use messaging apps every single day, tapping out countless words and emojis, usually without paying a cent. Yet these apps, these quiet, digital bridges connecting us, made some people incredibly rich. A powerful story from something so simple. Here's the thing, humans have always had this deep need to talk, to share our lives. For centuries, we sent letters, then telegrams, then made phone calls. Each new way brought us closer, faster, shrinking the distance between hearts. Messaging apps took all that connecting power and put it right into our hands, instantly. You could talk to almost anyone, anywhere, for free, and it felt like a true gift. But nothing truly free lasts forever in business. As these apps grew, they gathered millions, then billions, of users. Imagine a vast, vibrant park where everyone you know loves to hang out. It becomes the most popular place. Since so many are there, businesses quickly see a huge opportunity. They might pay a lot just to put up a billboard, or perhaps they sell really cool, unique snacks directly to all the people enjoying themselves. That's a lot like how it worked for messaging apps. They didn't charge us to send messages. Instead, they sold advertising space to companies desperate to reach all those eyes. Or they started selling stickers, special filters, or premium features within the app. Sometimes, a huge technology company would just buy the entire app outright, paying billions, not just for the software, but for all the people actively using it, the entire network of human connection. That it truly makes you think, doesn't it? The real value wasn't just in the app's code, or even in the free messages. It was in our universal human need to connect, to share, to feel close, even when oceans apart. That ancient desire, packaged into a fast, easy app, became a spectacular goldmine. It quietly shows how powerful our deep need for each other is, and how someone built a fortune on that very human bond. The secret behind a famous toy line's sale. Have you ever wondered why some toys become so much more than just plastic or cloth? Why do certain ones stay in our hearts long after we've outgrown them? Here's the thing about many famous toy lines that made billions. Their true secret wasn't just about the toy itself. It was about the feeling it gave you. Think about it. When you picked up that action figure, or dressed that doll, or built that castle, you weren't just playing. You were stepping into a story. You were becoming a hero, a creator, a friend. This idea that objects can hold deep meaning for us isn't new. For centuries, humans have treasured items, not for what they cost, but for what they represent. Ancient cultures had carved figures and simple games that weren't just for fun. They taught lessons, celebrated gods, or kept family memories alive. They were containers for feelings and ideas. It's a lot like a worn-out baseball glove, or a favorite sweatshirt. That glove might not be the newest or fanciest, but every scratch and stain tells a story of games played, victories won, or friends shared. The sweatshirt feels like a hug from a memory. The toy line that sold for billions understood this. They didn't just sell plastic, they sold a world. They sold adventure, friendship, and the chance to imagine. They connected with that deep part of us that yearns for stories, for belonging, for a moment where anything feels possible. So, when a giant company buys a beloved toy brand for an incredible amount of money, they aren't just buying molds and patents. They are buying a piece of our collective memory. They are acquiring the feeling, the dreams, the childhood magic wrapped up in those objects. And that's why it matters. It teaches us that what truly lasts, what truly holds value, often isn't what's shiny and new. It's the quiet echo of joy, wonder, and connection that something carries. It's a reminder that feelings, even quiet ones, are a powerful force in our world, shaping everything from our personal memories to huge business deals. How one website became a shopping giant. Have you ever stopped to think about how something so simple, a little idea born in someone's mind, can grow so big it touches almost every part of your daily life? It's kind of amazing, isn't it? Not too long ago, shopping meant walking down actual streets, going into different stores, seeing and touching things, maybe even talking to the people who worked there. It was a slower way of life. But then, a quiet change began with just one website. This wasn't about building physical stores. It was about building a place where you could find almost anything you wanted, all from the comfort of your own home. Here's how it works. It started with just an idea to sell books online. Only books. Imagine that small beginning. But this single digital storefront began to grow, much like a tiny stream that slowly, steadily, picks up more water and speed until it becomes a powerful, rushing river. This website didn't stop at books. It started adding more and more things: music, movies, toys, clothes, even food. Suddenly, it felt like all the shelves in the world were emptying into this one vast digital space. It gave people choices they never had before, reaching across continents with just a few clicks. You could order something late at night, and it might even show up at your door the very next day. Think about how a single tiny acorn can grow into a massive oak tree. It provides shade, shelter, and changes the landscape around it. This website was like that acorn. It planted itself online and grew into a huge network, connecting millions of buyers and sellers across the globe. This shift has brought incredible convenience and access, without a doubt, but it also makes us pause and wonder about the quiet changes happening in our daily lives. What does it mean when we no longer have to leave our homes for almost anything? What happens to the small, local shops and the everyday conversations we used to have? This giant website has linked us in new ways, connecting us to products and possibilities, and that's why it matters. It leaves us with a soft, lingering question: what have we truly gained, and what perhaps have we quietly let go of in exchange for all that easy access? It's a journey from one small idea to a whole new way of being in the world. The day a sports brand got super rich. Have you ever wondered how a simple handshake could change everything? Picture this: a company took a huge chance on a young athlete. It wasn't just about selling shoes. It was about believing in a dream so deeply it became everyone's dream. Back in the 1980s, Nike wasn't the giant it is today. They made good running shoes, but they saw something special in a college basketball player named Michael Jordan. Other companies had more money, more fame, but Nike offered more than money. They offered a partnership, a chance to be the face of something new, something that truly reflected him. Here's the thing: before this, sports gear was just about function. You wore cleats for soccer, running shoes for running. But when Michael Jordan signed with Nike, it changed. His shoes weren't just shoes, they were a piece of him. They carried his determination, skill, and spirit. People bought the idea of Jordan. They wanted to jump higher, dream bigger, like him. Think about your favorite band. Wearing their t-shirt isn't just about the fabric. It connects you to their music, their message, their energy. You feel part of something, and that's what happened with Jordan and Nike. One person's belief, and the courage to build a brand around it, created something huge. It wasn't just a deal, it was a promise of shared greatness. That moment showed us that business isn't always about numbers. Sometimes, it's about emotion, about shared hope. It reminds you that when you connect with people and help them feel part of something amazing, you build something more valuable than just a product. You build a legacy that echoes through time. Making billions from burgers and fries, making billions from burgers and fries. Have you ever stopped to think about a simple burger, a bag of hot, salty fries? They're just food, right? But here's the thing: sometimes the most ordinary things hold the biggest secrets to wealth. The smell of those fries wafting through the air, the taste of a burger that's just familiar. It's comforting, and comfort, when done right, can build empires. Think about McDonald's. It wasn't about inventing the burger or the fry. People were already making them. The real magic, the thing that made billions, was about how they were made and how they were sold. A man named Ray Kroc saw something special in a little burger stand. He didn't just see a good meal, he saw a perfect system. He imagined a world where you could go anywhere, to any McDonald's, and that burger would taste exactly the same. That little detail, that consistency, was everything. It was a promise, kept over and over again. It's kind of like building with LED. One single Lego brick isn't much on its own, but if you have millions of them, all shaped the same, all fitting together perfectly, you can build anything: a castle, a spaceship, a whole city. The power isn't in one brick, it's in the amazing repetition and the perfect fit. McDonald's took a simple idea: fast, consistent food, and repeated it perfectly, millions of times a day, across the globe. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What simple, everyday thing do we take for granted? What small, ordinary action, if repeated with dedication and care, could grow into something truly immense? Sometimes, the biggest fortunes aren't found in searching for new, fancy inventions. They're found in looking at what's already here, what people already love, and simply doing it better, more reliably, and with a quiet, unwavering commitment. It's a gentle reminder that greatness can bloom from the most humble beginnings, if we just care enough to nurture it. One burger, one fry, one consistent promise at a time. The day a car company bought another. Have you ever looked at a car driving by and wondered who truly owns the company that made it? It's not always as simple as it seems. Sometimes, a really big company will actually buy another company, making it part of their own. It's a moment that feels both exciting and a little sad. It's like watching an old friend move away, starting a new adventure. These moments hold a quiet power, shifting everything for many people. Imagine you've built a fantastic treehouse in your backyard. You poured your heart into every nail, every plank. Then, a much bigger kid with a fancier treehouse offers to buy yours, not just to visit, but to own it. They give you a lot of money, and suddenly, your treehouse isn't yours anymore. It becomes part of their giant treehouse world. That's kind of what happens when one car company buys another. All the hard work and dreams become part of a bigger picture. It's not just about money changing hands. It's about creation, vision, and the future of countless workers. For the company being bought, it feels like an era ends, a history folding into something new. For the buying company, it's huge growth, reaching more people, making a bigger mark on the world. This happened in real life, like when a big German company called Daimler-Benz bought Chrysler, an American car company, back in 1998. It felt like two worlds joining, a huge decision for everyone. Here's the thing, these kinds of deals are about more than just cars. They're about human ambition and the deep desire to build something lasting. It's about wanting more, creating something bigger than yourself. It's a feeling many of us understand, whether it's wanting to win a game or do your best in school. But on this massive scale, it shapes our roads, jobs, and how we think about travel. It's a quiet moment where industry shifts, making us wonder about the dance of growth and change. It reminds us that everything, even huge things, can change instantly. Those changes echo for years, shaping our world in ways we might not realize. When a software idea became worth billions, have you ever stopped to think about how something you can't touch, something completely invisible, can become worth more money than a mountain of gold? Here's the thing, that's often how software works. It starts as just an idea, a whisper in someone's mind, a smart way to solve a problem. Then, it becomes lines of code, like secret instructions written for a computer. And suddenly, those invisible instructions can change the whole world, creating unbelievable wealth. For a long time, people thought true value came from things you could hold, land, shiny metals, giant factories. But then, a quiet shift happened. We began to understand that brilliant ideas, new ways of thinking, could create something just as real, just as powerful. It's like when someone first thought, what if we could build a machine to weave clothes faster than any person? That idea, though unseen, changed everything. Don't think about an app on your phone that helps you find your way around a new city, or lets you talk to a friend across the ocean. You can't hold that app in your hand, right? But millions of people use it every day. It started with someone just wondering, how can people connect easier? How can they find information faster? That spark, that simple question, became a complex set of instructions. And because it helped so many, it grew and grew, becoming incredibly valuable. It's almost like a silent, powerful agreement. If an idea makes life better for enough people, we all agree it's worth a lot, and that's why it matters. It teaches us a deep lesson. The biggest treasures aren't always physical. Sometimes, they are born from a simple thought, from someone daring to ask, what if, or how can we make this better? It's a quiet reminder that inside every single one of us, there's a universe of ideas. They are waiting to bloom, waiting to make a difference, and sometimes even create fortunes that truly astound. The company that got rich from data. Have you ever wondered why your phone seems to know what you're thinking, almost before you do? It's not magic, it's data. Every click, every search, every video you watch, it all leaves a tiny, invisible trail. Imagine millions of whispers, all being recorded, and here's the thing, companies collect these whispers. They gather tiny bits of information about what millions of people like, what they buy, and where they go. For thousands of years, knowing things meant understanding your immediate world. A village elder knew paths, a merchant knew popular goods, but now, this vast knowledge about everyone is like a new kind of gold, even more valuable. Imagine someone knowing what everyone wants, what makes them happy or sad. That understanding holds immense, quiet power. It's not just about selling a product. It's about deeply understanding human patterns, our habits, and our wishes on a grand scale. Think about your favorite snack. A big supermarket sees thousands of people like you buy those chips, so they always have them. They might even notice that chip buyers also tend to buy a certain soda, so they place them right next to each other, making it easy to grab both. It's like a super smart friend who knows your tastes, predicting what you'll want next. But this friend's only goal is to guide you towards another purchase. They do this for millions. So, when a company gets rich from data, they're not selling a physical product. They're selling understanding. They're selling insights into what makes us, well, us, our desires and hidden preferences. It's a quiet, powerful force growing around us. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it, about all the tiny bits of ourselves we leave behind, and what intricate stories they tell about who we truly are to those who carefully listen. The deal that gave us better movies. Have you ever watched an old, black and white movie and felt a little distanced from the story, like something was missing? The world on screen, while often powerful, was presented in shades of grey. Imagine a time when every heroic adventure, every tender moment, every grand landscape was seen without the fiery reds of a sunset or the calming blues of the ocean. It was like looking at a dream through a frosted window. This absence of true color wasn't just a visual detail. It sometimes kept us from feeling the full emotional punch of a scene. But then, a remarkable shift began with a company called Technicolor. They had a way to capture the vibrant hues of life on film, bringing a dazzling new reality to the screen. Here's the thing. Their genius wasn't just in the technology itself, but in a smart business deal they made. Instead of just selling their special cameras and film, Technicolor decided to partner deeply with movie studios. They would send their own color experts to the sets, helping directors and cinematographers understand how to use this new medium to tell stories with incredible impact. This wasn't just a sale. It was a collaboration, a shared vision to paint the silver screen. Think about it like this. Imagine you're drawing a picture and you only have a pencil. You can create amazing shapes and shadows, but a lot of the feeling is still inside your head. Now, imagine someone gives you a full box of vibrant crayons and shows you exactly how to make your drawing explode with color. That's what this deal did for movies. It wasn't just adding a new feature. It was unlocking a deeper layer of storytelling, making the impossible seem real, and letting us connect with characters on a much more profound level. And that's why it matters. This one deal didn't just make money or push a product. It fundamentally changed how we experience stories, how we feel them in our hearts. It proved that sometimes the biggest financial wins come from helping others achieve something beautiful. It made our movie nights richer, transforming simple images into windows to worlds bursting with color and emotion, forever changing the way we dream with our eyes wide open. The deal that gave us better movies. Have you ever watched an old, black and white movie and felt a little distanced from the story, like something was missing? The world on screen, while often powerful, was presented in shades of grey. Imagine a time when every heroic adventure, every tender moment, every grand landscape was seen without the fiery reds of a sunset or the calming blues of the ocean. It was like looking at a dream through a frosted window. This absence of true color wasn't just a visual detail. It sometimes kept us from feeling the full emotional punch of a scene. But then, a remarkable shift began with a company called Technicolor. They had a way to capture the vibrant hues of life on film, bringing a dazzling new reality to the screen. Here's the thing. Their genius wasn't just in the technology itself, but in a smart business deal they made. Instead of just selling their special cameras and film, Technicolor decided to partner deeply with movie studios. They would send their own color experts to the sets, helping directors and cinematographers understand how to use this new medium to tell stories with incredible impact. This wasn't just a sale. It was a collaboration, a shared vision to paint the silver screen. Think about it like this. Imagine you're drawing a picture and you only have a pencil. You can create amazing shapes and shadows, but a lot of the feeling is still inside your head. Now, imagine someone gives you a full box of vibrant crayons and shows you exactly how to make your drawing explode with color. That's what this deal did for movies. It wasn't just adding a new feature. It was unlocking a deeper layer of storytelling, making the impossible seem real, and letting us connect with characters on a much more profound level. And that's why it matters. This one deal didn't just make money or push a product. It fundamentally changed how we experience stories, how we feel them in our hearts. It proved that sometimes the biggest financial wins come from helping others achieve something beautiful. It made our movie nights richer, transforming simple images into windows to worlds bursting with color and emotion, forever changing the way we dream with our eyes wide open. When a drug company found its match, have you ever felt like you were doing great, maybe even winning, and then something unexpected came along, a challenge you didn't see coming? Sometimes, even the biggest companies meet their match. It's not only about money, it tests what you thought you knew. Imagine a powerful drug company, holding so much hope for people, suddenly meeting another just as smart, just as driven. It feels heavy, a bit daunting, like the ground shifting beneath your feet. Life often brings these moments, not just in business, but for all of us. Think about how nature works. A giant river flows, carving its path, but sometimes it meets a strong mountain or another mighty river. They don't just pass, they push, they change each other. It's a dance of forces, not about one being better, but about the meeting itself. It's like when you've practiced really hard for a school play, knowing your lines well. You feel ready, maybe even a little confident. Then, during dress rehearsal, another actor delivers their lines with such raw emotion, such depth. It makes you pause. It doesn't mean you're bad. It just shows you another level. It makes you think, wow, I need to bring more of that. You look inward, finding something new. That feeling of surprise, of respectful challenge, can be a powerful thing. These moments, when a giant meets its match, aren't always about conflict. They can be about growth. They teach us that even at the top, there's always more to learn, more ways to grow, and sometimes, true strength isn't just winning, it's understanding and adapting to a force as powerful as your own. It reminds us that every challenge holds a quiet lesson, if we're brave enough to listen. Making money from keeping us healthy. Have you ever stopped to think about how much we truly value feeling well? Not just when you're sick in bed, wishing for a magic cure, but every single day. That feeling of strength, of clear breathing, of not hurting, it's precious, isn't it? It's a quiet hope we carry, wanting to live long, vibrant lives, free from pain. And here's the thing, businesses understand this deep human desire. They see our wish to be healthy, to grow old gracefully, and they build entire industries around it. For as long as people have lived, we've sought ways to mend ourselves. Think back to ancient times. Even then, people searched for herbs, for remedies, for wise healers. The driving force was always the same: to ease suffering, to extend life, to make tomorrow better than today. This isn't just a new idea. It's part of our very nature, a fundamental human need that echoes through history. We all yearn for health, for wholeness. Consider something as simple as a bottle of vitamins. You see them at the store, colorful and promising. Maybe you take one each morning, or your parents do. They aren't just tiny pills. They represent a hope. The hope that you'll have more energy, that your body will be stronger, that you'll avoid getting sick. It's a small act, but it taps into that powerful wish inside us all. The desire to feel our best, to be ready for whatever life brings. Companies bottle that hope, turn it into something tangible, and sell it to millions who share the same quiet longing. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, that our deepest longing for health, for life without suffering, can also be the foundation for immense wealth. It shows how much we cherish each breath, each moment. It reminds us of the delicate balance between taking care of ourselves and the world that offers to help. A powerful thought, how our simple desire to live well drives so much around us. The big decision for a hotel group. Have you ever stood at a crossroads, two paths ahead, and felt that heavy moment before choice? That's how it feels sometimes for big companies. Imagine a hotel group. They own hotels everywhere. One day, a chance comes up. They could buy another, smaller hotel chain. This isn't just about money. It's about their brand's future, the families depending on them, and the travelers' trust. For centuries, humans have faced such moments. Think of ancient stories where a hero picks between two difficult options, knowing one path changes everything. Like in old myths, a king might choose war or peace. Each choice carves a new future. It's a powerful idea. One moment shifts many lives. It's a bit like picking your classes for high school. You might choose art or science. That one choice doesn't just fill a spot in your schedule. It might open up new experiences and dreams for what you'll do after school. That yes or no has ripples, spreading far. For the hotel group, this decision to buy or not to buy isn't just numbers. It's the future of hundreds of people. It's the chance to either grow bigger, becoming known in new places, or to stay steady, building on what they already have. There's fear of failure, but also the hope of greatness. It's a moment heavy with courage and caution. And here's the thing, no one knows if a big decision will be perfect, but making the choice, even when it's hard, is what builds the path forward. It teaches us that every big step in life, whether in business or in our own journeys, begins with a moment of brave, hopeful decision. It's about facing the unknown with an open heart. How a bank merger changed everything. Have you ever wondered what happens when something huge, something really solid and important, suddenly gets swallowed up by something even bigger? It's not just numbers on a screen. It's like a quiet earthquake that shifts the ground beneath our feet. A bank merger is when two banks decide to become one giant bank. Imagine two separate rivers flowing along, each with its own path, its own strength. Then, they join together to form one much wider, much deeper river. This new, larger river has more power. It can carry more boats, but it also changes the landscape around it. In the world of money, when two banks merge, it often means less choice for regular people. It means one less place to go for a loan, or to keep your savings. Sometimes, the people who worked at the smaller bank lose their jobs. It's a quiet sorrow, a ripple that spreads through families and towns. This isn't just about making more money for the rich people at the top. It's about a shift in power, a concentration of control. Think about it. When there are fewer big players, they have more say over everything. They can set the rules more easily. It's a bit like when two local grocery stores in your town suddenly become one huge supermarket chain. You might get more products in one spot, but what happened to the friendly cashier you knew by name? What happened to the unique items only one of those stores carried? The competition is gone, and so is a little piece of the community's heart. This new, big store might feel impersonal. It serves a purpose, but it loses some of its soul. So, a bank merger, seemingly just a business deal, is actually a moment where the future twists and turns. It shows us how big decisions, made in quiet boardrooms, can echo loudly in the lives of many. It reminds us to think about what we value: efficiency or connection, power or choice. Sometimes, the biggest changes start with something that sounds simple, but truly changes everything. The time a famous soda brand was sold. Have you ever really stopped to think about the stuff we love? Not just what it is, but who makes it, who owns it, and what happens when something that feels like it's always been there, something everyone knows, suddenly gets sold. It's not just a business deal. It can feel deeper than that. Imagine a soda brand, one that has been around for ages, in ads, in movies, at every picnic. Everyone knows its taste, its bottle, its name. It feels like a part of the world, almost like a friend. But even something that big, that familiar, has an owner, and sometimes that owner decides to sell it. This happened with Coke. In the early days, before it became the worldwide giant we know, its creator, John Pemberton, actually sold off parts of his company. Then, it was bought fully by Asa Candler, a businessman who saw its true potential. Here's the thing, when a brand like that changes hands, it's not just about money. It's like when your favorite local ice cream shop, the one with all your memories, gets bought by a huge national chain. The name might stay, maybe even some of the flavors, but you wonder if the feeling is still the same. Will the new owners care about the little things, the history, the community memories, or just about selling more scoops? It makes you think about what truly lasts. Things come and go. Companies get bought and sold, even the biggest ones. But the simple joy of sharing a cold drink on a hot day, or the laugh you had with friends while sipping it, those moments aren't owned by anyone. Those feelings, those personal connections, they stay with us. They are the real things that no one can ever put a price on or sell away. When a game console got a huge price have, you ever wondered why some old things, maybe even a broken toy, can suddenly be worth more than a brand new car? It's a strange thought, right? Usually, we think new things are better, or cost more. But sometimes, something's price goes way up. Not because it's new, but because it holds a special kind of magic. Here's the thing, when we talk about a huge price for an old game console, it's not just about the parts. It's about a feeling. It's about a moment in time that can't be brought back. Think of it like this. Your grandma's old cookie recipe isn't just flour and sugar. It carries decades of family gatherings, laughter, and comfort. That's its real value. Long ago, companies tried many ideas that never made it to stores. They built prototypes, like first drafts of a book. These unique items show us a path not taken. They are like whispers from history, showing us what could have been. Take the legendary Nintendo PlayStation prototype. Only one is known to exist. It was a failed partnership, a secret handshake that never quite worked out. It's not just a machine. It's a story of a dream that almost came true. Imagine finding a lost letter from someone famous, one they wrote but never sent. The paper itself isn't worth much, but the words, the history it holds, makes it so valuable. It links us directly to a different time. A game console that gets a huge price is like that letter. It links us to the early days of gaming, to the dreams people had, and the fun we once shared. So, maybe the real lesson isn't about how much money something costs. Maybe it's about seeing the quiet stories in everyday objects. It reminds us that things can hold huge value, not just in their price. It's in the memories they spark and the history they carry, linking us to something bigger than ourselves. It makes us think about what we truly cherish. The deal for your favorite music company. Have you ever thought about your favorite song? The one that just gets you, the way it makes you feel, like floating or understood. It feels so personal, right? But here's the thing. Even that deep connection, that wave of emotion, often comes to you because of a business deal. Someone bought or built the company that brings you that music. Think about it. For a long time, if you wanted music, you either made it yourself, heard it live, or bought a physical thing, a record, a tape, a CD. It was very direct. But then, as the world changed, music started moving through wires and screens. Companies realized that owning the way music reached you could be incredibly powerful. They gathered artists, song catalogs, and the technology to share it all. It wasn't just about the art anymore. It was about the system that delivered the art. Imagine you're craving your grandma's special soup. She makes it with so much love, and it tastes perfect. To get the ingredients, you go to a grocery store, a big company that buys tons of food. The store isn't making the soup, but they make it possible for your grandma to make it. Music companies are a bit like that grocery store. They gather amazing talent, the songs, and build the platform where you can find that one song that makes your heart ache or soar. It's kind of a strange mix, isn't it? This beautiful, raw, human expression, music wrapped up in the world of money and corporations. It makes you wonder about the journey each song takes. From a whisper in a songwriter's heart to blasting through your headphones, it reminds us that even the purest art needs a path to reach us. And sometimes, those paths are paved with very big deals. But what truly matters, in the end, is how that music makes you feel. The magic it keeps, no matter what hands or companies it passes through. Making billions from smart devices. Have you ever looked at your phone, or perhaps a smartwatch on your wrist, and felt a tiny spark of wonder? It's more than just a piece of metal and glass. It feels alive, doesn't it? These are smart devices. And here's the thing. They've changed how we live in ways that have created incredible wealth. Think about it this way. For thousands of years, people mostly lived in their own small villages. Information traveled slowly, but humans always dreamed of connecting, of knowing more, of making life easier. From the first cave paintings to the invention of the printing press, we've always found new ways to share and learn. Smart devices are just the newest chapter in this very old story. They are everyday objects, a speaker, a watch, a phone, that have tiny, powerful computers inside. And these computers connect to the internet, making them smart. Imagine your brain. It takes in information, processes it, and helps you act. A smart device is kind of like a tiny extra brain, always connected to a vast network of information. It's always ready to help. It can play your favorite song with just a voice command, or tell you how many steps you've walked, or even show you a map of anywhere in the world in seconds. These small moments of instant help and connection make our lives smoother, sometimes even safer. And that's why it matters so much. When something makes life easier for billions of people, even in small ways, it becomes incredibly valuable. It's not just about the gadgets themselves. It's about the feeling of being connected, of having answers at your fingertips, of feeling more in control of your day. It's a quiet testament to human dreams, a longing to simplify, to reach further, to understand more. And from that longing, a powerful industry has grown, changing our world, one helpful little device at a time. How a startup became a billion-dollar idea VO, ICO. What if the biggest ideas, the ones that change the world and make billions, start with just a quiet feeling inside someone? It's often not a loud, flashy moment. Instead, it's like a small, persistent thought that just won't go away. This is how a startup truly begins. It's when a person, or a few friends, sees a real problem that no one else has properly fixed yet. They feel it deep down, a frustration, a simple wish for things to be better for everyone. Don't think about it this way. For as long as humans have lived, we've always looked for ways to make life easier. From the first tool someone picked up, to the apps we use today, it all comes from that same human urge. It's about looking at the world and saying, here's the thing, this could be different, this could be better. This core desire is ancient. It quietly drives all innovation. Imagine building a tall tower with blocks, but one specific shape just doesn't exist. You try to make do, but your tower isn't as strong or as tall as it could be. You feel that gap. Then, someone comes along, sees this, and realizes, hey, we need a block shaped just like this. That moment of realization, and the hard work to make that new block, that's the heart of a startup. It's finding a missing, essential piece. So, a startup, becoming $1 billion idea, isn't just about a clever business plan. It's born from a deep, human understanding of a widespread, unmet need. It's the journey from a whisper of an idea, sparked by empathy, to something that truly helps countless people live a little better. And that's why it matters. It reminds us that powerful change can begin with something very small, felt by one person. It's about listening to that quiet voice that asks, what if? The company that bought up all the news. Have you ever stopped to wonder where all the stories you hear, all the news you read, truly come from? Imagine a quiet morning. You grab a newspaper, maybe listen to a radio show, or scroll through an app on your phone. All of it tells you what's happening in the world. But what if most of those different voices, those different headlines, were actually owned by just one giant company? This is a real thing that has happened, and it holds a deep kind of power. We are talking about when one business decides to buy up newspaper after newspaper, then radio stations, and later, TV channels and websites. It's like gathering all the storytellers under one big roof. This isn't just about making money. It's about shaping how we all see the world. Think about it. If one source decides what news is important, and what isn't, or even how a story is told, it changes how we understand everything. For a long time, people have known that whoever controls the information controls a lot of things. Back in ancient times, kings would have their messages spread, making sure people heard what they wanted them to hear. In our own lives, it's a bit like when you and your friends are trying to decide what movie to watch. If only one friend gets to read all the reviews and then tells everyone else which movie is good, you're only getting one side of the story. You might miss out on a movie you'd love, just because that one friend didn't care for it. Here's the thing, when one company holds so many of the keys to our news, it can feel a little lonely, a little less free. Our minds need many different ideas, like a garden needs many kinds of plants to truly grow strong and beautiful. It reminds us that finding truth often means listening to many voices, not just one loud one. It's about making sure our own understanding is rich and full, not just one's, and that's why it matters deeply to all of us. When an appliance maker hit it big, have you ever thought about how much easier life is because of simple machines? Things we use every day, almost without thinking. Imagine living without a washing machine or a refrigerator. It sounds hard, right? But once these things didn't exist. Here's the thing. Sometimes, the biggest business deals aren't about flashy new tech. They're about someone seeing a common struggle, a tiring chore, and finding a way to make it disappear. They saw what people really needed. This is what happened with a company called General Electric, or GE, back when the world was changing fast. Think about the early 1900s. Life was hard. Chores took hours. Washing clothes was an all-day event. Keeping food fresh was a constant worry. People dreamed of more time, more freedom. GE didn't just invent appliances. They tapped into this deep human yearning for a better, simpler life. They offered solutions that weren't just useful. They felt like magic. They gave people back their precious time. It's like when you're building a complicated Lego set, and you suddenly find that one special tool that makes clicking the tiny pieces together much easier. You didn't even know you needed it, but once you have it, you can't imagine building without it. That's what appliances felt like. They weren't just machines. They were helpers, silent partners in the daily struggle. So, this isn't just a story about selling refrigerators or stoves. It's a story about empathy. It's about truly understanding the everyday burdens people carried and finding a way to lighten that load. The real billion-dollar deal wasn't just in the metal and wires. but in the peace of mind and the extra moments people gained. It reminds us that often, success comes from caring deeply about improving the human experience, one small, helpful invention at a time. The deal that changed how we travel. Have you ever stopped to think about how far you can go in a single day? How easily you can visit a friend or drive to a lake that's miles away? It feels natural, doesn't it? But there was a time, not so long ago, when such freedom was barely a dream for most people. Getting around was slow, hard, and usually very expensive. People stayed close to home. Their world felt small. Then came a quiet revolution, born from a big idea and an even bigger deal. Henry Ford had a simple wish: to build a car that everyone could afford. Not just the super rich, but regular families, teachers, farmers. He knew that if he could make cars fast enough and cheaply enough, he could change everything. So, here's what happened. He put together a new way of building things, using an assembly line. This wasn't just about making cars, it was about making them accessible. It meant that a car, the Model T, became something almost anyone could buy. Before this, imagine trying to visit your grandparents who lived just 50 miles away. It might take an entire day, or even more, by horse and buggy. Think about how that limits your world, how it makes distances feel huge. It's like being stuck in one room of a big house, only able to see what's right in front of you. But suddenly, with a car, the whole house opens up. The world got smaller, and our personal freedom grew immense. This deal, this simple idea of bringing the open road to everyone, wasn't just about selling metal and engines. It was about giving people the power to choose their own path, to explore, to feel the wind in their hair on their own terms. It quietly reshaped our maps, our towns, and even our dreams. It reminds us that sometimes the biggest changes come not from grand battles, but from a quiet shift in how we move through the world, making the far away feel a little closer, and our own lives feel much, much wider. Making money from helping businesses. Have you ever thought about building something valuable, not just for you, but for others? It's easy to think making a fortune means finding hidden treasure or getting lucky. But here's the thing. Many big fortunes were built on a deeper idea: helping businesses grow. It's about seeing a challenge a company faces, a struggle it can't overcome, then stepping in with a genuine hand, offering a way forward. Think about it. From the earliest days, when people first gathered, they traded skills. Someone good at making tools would help a farmer, and in return, the farmer would share food. It's an ancient dance of need and solution. This same idea, this simple act of helping, scales up to the giant world of business. When a company needs a new way to reach its customers, or a faster way to make its products, or even a clever plan to solve a big, tricky problem, that's where the opportunity lies. Imagine your friend is struggling with a complicated model for a science fair, feeling totally lost. You don't just do it for them. Instead, you show them a better way to organize their materials, or teach them a simple trick to make the pieces fit. You guide their hands. When their project looks amazing and they feel proud, that feeling of helping, that quiet success, is powerful. In the world of billions, that help becomes a service, a special skill, a brilliant piece of advice that lifts an entire company. It solves their big problem. And that's why it matters. It shows us that true wealth isn't always about grabbing the most. Sometimes, it's about having the wisdom to see someone else's burden and the heart to ease it. When you make a business stronger, when you help it shine, you create something lasting. It's a deep kind of satisfaction, knowing your work truly made a difference, echoing far beyond just money in a bank account. The day a search engine got even smarter. Have you ever typed a question into a search engine, hoping it would just know what you really meant? Not just matching words, but grasping the feeling, the intent behind your curious fingers. For a long time, computers were like very quick librarians. They only understood the exact titles on the books. You asked for red cars, and it showed you red cars. Simple. But our human hearts often ask for so much more. There came a moment, a quiet shift, when the digital world began to listen differently. It wasn't about just finding keywords. It was about understanding relationships between ideas. Imagine asking, what is the biggest mammal that lives in the ocean? Before, a search engine might have just looked for mammal, ocean, biggest, hone. Now, it started to connect mammal to whale, and biggest to a specific type of whale. This happened even if you hadn't typed those exact words. It began to build a map of meaning, not just a list of words. Think about talking to a friend. If you say, I'm really hungry, but I don't want pizza. Your friend doesn't just hear hungry and pizza. They understand you want food that is not pizza. They get the context. This new, smarter search engine started to learn that same kind of context. It wasn't just searching for pieces of your question, but the whole puzzle. It tried to figure out what your heart was truly asking for. Even when your words weren't perfect, it felt like the internet was finally taking a deep breath, looking past the surface. This wasn't just a technical upgrade. It was a step towards a deeper connection between us and the vast ocean of information. It meant less frustration, more understanding. It felt like the machine was learning to listen with a little empathy, trying to meet us where our questions lived. And that quiet change, the ability of a digital mind to truly understand, whispered a promise. Finding answers might someday feel less like a hunt and more like a gentle conversation with someone who really gets it. How one small company beat the odds. Have you ever felt like the smallest fish in a huge ocean? Like the odds were truly against you? Many know that feeling. It often stops dreams, but sometimes the smallest ones surprise everyone. They win when it seems impossible. This idea of beating the odds isn't just about luck. It's about quiet, burning strength. People always rooted for the underdog, David and Goliath. Right, it's our human story. We cheer for those who face giants with courage and smarts. This teaches us about pushing through. Size isn't everything. That imagine a tiny wildflower. It sprouts in a crack in the pavement, where growing seems impossible. The sun is hot, the ground is hard. Every day, it pushes. It doesn't have the strength of a giant oak, but it has an incredible drive to reach for the light. It finds water where there seems to be none. This little flower isn't thinking about the odds. It just focuses on growing, on surviving, and often, it blooms. That's a bit like a small company beating the odds. They might not have millions or huge teams. They face bigger companies with more resources and connections. But they have something else, a clear idea, a passion that won't quit. They try new things, learn, and adapt. They keep pushing, even when the path is rocky. So, when a small company rises up, it's more than just a business story. It's a reminder of something important inside all of us. It's about not giving up, even when the world feels too big. It's about finding your own crack in the pavement and growing anyway. It shows us that true strength isn't always loud or obvious. Sometimes, it's the quiet persistence that makes all the difference. And that's why it matters. When a car brand found a new owner, have you ever thought about how some of the most famous car brands in the world, the ones you see every day, haven't always belonged to the same people? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? To think that something so solid, so known, could simply change hands. It's like a beloved story getting a new author. The characters and setting are still there, but the future, the next chapter, is shaped by a different mind. Here's the thing about big businesses, especially car companies. They are often bought and sold, sometimes for billions of dollars. One company might own a brand for decades, building its name and its cars. Then another, even bigger company, comes along and buys it. The car brand keeps its name, its badge, but the vision, the choices, the very direction of its future, shift. It's not just about money changing hands. It's about a legacy being passed on. Think about a magnificent ancient tree in a park. It stands for generations, a landmark for everyone. People grow up seeing it, telling stories about it. One day, the land it sits on changes owners. The tree is still there, still beautiful, still an important part of the landscape. But now, new hands will tend to the park. New decisions will be made about its care, its growth. The tree's essence, its long life, remains, but its future stewards are different. This happens with car brands too. The cars themselves carry the memories of their past owners, their original designers. And then, a new owner steps in, bringing new ideas, new ways of building, while still honoring what came before. It's a delicate balance. It asks us to remember that even the strongest, most familiar things are always in motion. What we see today might have a deep, hidden history of many different hands guiding its journey. It teaches us that value isn't just in what something is, but in who cares for it, and how that care continues, generation after generation. The deal for the biggest book publisher. Have you ever stopped to think about how a story, a book that truly moves you, actually gets into your hands? It's a journey that often begins with an author's dream, but it almost always ends with a business deal. Here's the thing, even something as personal as a book can become part of a massive deal, where one company buys another, making itself incredibly powerful. We're talking about the deal that created the biggest book publisher in the world. For a long time, stories were just passed down by talking. Then, people learned to write them down. Later, with printing presses, suddenly everyone could share the same words, but the power to share those words still fell to people who owned the presses. Now, imagine a company that owns so many presses, so many ways to get books out there, that it becomes a giant. This happened when a very large company bought another very large company, bringing countless authors and their stories under one roof. Think about your favorite snack. Maybe there are lots of different kinds. But what if one huge company bought up almost all the smaller companies that make those snacks? Suddenly, most of the snacks on the shelves, even the ones that look different, are coming from one big place. It might make the snacks cheaper or easier to find, but it also means fewer people get to decide what new snacks get made. When one publisher becomes so enormous, it gains immense quiet power. Books aren't just paper and ink. They are ideas, histories, hopes, and dreams. They are how we connect with minds across time and space. So, when one company controls so much of what gets published, it holds a subtle, deep influence over which voices we hear and which stories shape our world. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, about the whispers and shouts that are chosen for us to read. The tech that made your commute worth billions. Okay, let's think about your ride to school this morning, or maybe a trip your family took. Did someone use a phone to find the best route, to see if there was traffic, to know how long it would take? That simple act, just knowing where you're going and how to get there, is a huge deal. It's not just convenient, it's a quiet superpower that created billions of dollars. For centuries, people relied on paper maps, memory, or asking for directions. Getting lost was common. You felt uncertain, sometimes stressed. Then, satellites began beaming down signals, and smart people figured out how to use them. This is GPS, the global positioning system, combined with powerful digital maps. Here's the thing, this tech didn't just tell you north, it showed your exact spot on the planet, almost to the foot. It tracked all roads, all traffic jams. Suddenly, an empty car could find a passenger. Someone could deliver your dinner right to your door, on time. Companies like Uber and Lyft built empires on this idea. They didn't invent cars or roads, they simply connected them all with precise location knowledge. Think of it like this. Imagine you're in a dark room. You know there's something important somewhere, but you can't see. Then, someone hands you a flashlight that points exactly to it. That's what GPS and mapping apps did for travel. They lit up the world, showing us the most efficient paths. It changes more than just driving. It changes how we feel. That little bit of certainty, knowing you're on track, can calm a worried mind. It gives us back time. It connects us to opportunities and each other. So, next time you glance at a map on a screen, remember, it's not just lines. It's a network of quiet trust, making your world, and billions of dollars, possible. It's a gentle reminder of how a simple idea, connected to tech, can shift everything. The company that made phones for everyone, think for a moment about your phone. It's probably right there, close by. What if hardly anyone had one? For a long time, that's how it was. Phones were clunky, expensive, mostly for businesses or rich people. Talking to someone far away felt almost like magic. But then, a company came along with a different idea. Their big thought wasn't just to make phones, but to make them for everyone. This wasn't about a fancy gadget for a few. It was about solving a real human need, the need to connect. They saw a future where a parent could call their child, a friend could check in, or anyone could reach out across towns or countries, easily and affordably. Here's the thing, this was a huge deal. Imagine a world where only a few people had books. Learning would be much harder, right? Stories wouldn't spread. But once printing presses made books cheap and common, suddenly everyone could learn, share ideas, and grow their minds. Phones did something similar for instant connection. They took something rare and made it common. It was like giving everyone their own personal superpower to bridge distances. You could literally hold the world in your hand, always ready to hear a voice. This widespread access changed everything. It shrunk the world, in a way. It made us feel closer to people, even miles apart. It created a constant hum of connection, a gentle reminder that you're not completely alone. There's always a way to reach out, to hear a voice, to know someone is there. And that feeling of belonging, of being connected, that's a powerful and truly human thing. How a clothing brand became super rich. Have you ever looked at a simple t-shirt or a pair of sneakers and thought, why is this so expensive? It's more than just the fabric and the thread, isn't it? The truth is, some clothing brands get super rich, not just by selling clothes, but by selling a feeling, a story, a dream. They understand something deep about what makes us human. Imagine a long time ago, people wore animal skins or woven leaves mostly to stay warm. Clothing was a basic need, but as societies grew, something shifted. We started adding beads, painting symbols. It wasn't just about covering up anymore. It was about showing who we were, our tribe, or who we wanted to be. This is where a successful brand finds its power. They figure out what kind of story people want to wear, what identity they want to project. Maybe it's a story of coolness, or of being strong, or of being kind to the planet. Here's the thing. People often buy not just a product, but what that product represents. Think about your favorite sports team's jersey. You don't just buy it because you need a shirt. You buy it because it connects you to the team, to the game, to other fans. It makes you feel part of something special. A successful clothing brand builds that same powerful emotional connection. They tell a story so well that when you wear their clothes, you feel like you're wearing a piece of that story, too. You become a walking part of their idea. So it's not always about making the cheapest thing, or even the absolute best quality. It's about tapping into our hearts, our deep human desires to fit in, or to stand out. It's about how they make you feel when you put their clothes on. And that feeling, that deep human need for identity and connection, can be worth billions. It's a quiet reminder of how much we value not just things, but the stories they help us tell. When a big box store got even bigger, have you ever walked into a store so big it felt like a whole world inside, with endless aisles and everything you could possibly need? Now, imagine that giant store deciding it wants to be even bigger, not just by adding another floor or expanding the parking lot, but by reaching out and buying another enormous store, one you also know very well. It's like two huge mountains merging into one, even more massive peak. This isn't just a business deal. It's a moment that can make your heart feel a little flutter of wonder, or maybe a tiny shiver of uncertainty. Think about all the people who worked at both stores, all the towns that rely on them, and all the familiar products that might suddenly change. When a big company buys another big company, it's not just about money changing hands. It's about dreams, jobs, and the quiet comfort of the way things used to be. Suddenly, the landscape of everyday shopping shifts. This isn't a new idea, of course. For centuries, people have gathered power and resources. Whether it was ancient empires growing by joining kingdoms or different tribes becoming one larger community, it's a very human urge to expand, to build something greater. But when it happens, we often stop and think, what does this mean for us? It's a bit like when two large schools in the same town decide to become one giant school. All the students suddenly share a new identity, new teachers, new friends. It's exciting, but also a little bit scary, right? So, as we see these giants grow even larger, it's a reminder that change is always happening around us. It makes us pause and consider the immense ambition and endless striving that shape our world. We might feel small in the face of such power, but remember, every single purchase, every single person, contributes to that giant story. And in that connection, there is still wonder and a shared journey. The deal that redefined TV. Have you ever stopped to think about all the TV shows you can watch today? I mean, hundreds of channels, streaming movies, shows, whenever you want them. It feels like such a normal part of life, right? But picture this. There was a time, not so long ago, when TV was much simpler. You might have had just 3 or 4 main channels. Everyone watched the same news, the same cartoons, the same big Sunday night movie. It was a shared experience, almost like everyone in the country was sitting down together in one giant living room, watching the same flickering screen. Then, a quiet agreement, a business deal, began to slowly change all of that. It wasn't about a new kind of camera or a hit show. It was about how the pictures got to your house. Instead of signals floating through the air, caught by an antenna on your roof, this deal pushed for something different. Wires, thick cables, buried underground or strung on poles. These cables became superhighways for television, letting not just a few channels, but dozens, then hundreds, pour into homes. It felt like magic, but it was just smart business. Think about a library. For a long time, maybe your town only had a few shelves of books. Everyone read the same popular stories. But then, someone had an idea. What if we could build a massive library, one with thousands of books on every topic you could imagine? History, science, art, wild adventures, quiet poems, and you could walk in and pick exactly the one that called to your heart, the one that perfectly matched what you wanted to learn or feel that day. That's what this deal did for TV. It took us from a few common stories to a universe of choices, a personal journey for every viewer. It wasn't just about having more options. It was about the profound power of choice itself. It opened up entirely new worlds, channels dedicated to learning, to hobbies, to different kinds of music or sports. It allowed us to explore passions we didn't even know we had. This deal wasn't just about money. It was about human connection, offering individual paths to discovery and joy. It quietly, powerfully shifted our world, making our entertainment more personal, more varied, and perhaps, in its own way, a bit more deeply reflective of who we are. Making money from online games. Have you ever paused to think about the bustling, vibrant worlds that live inside your favorite online games? The places where you connect with friends, chase adventures, and maybe even build something incredible. It's amazing how much life and passion exist within those digital spaces. At first, you might think money in games just means buying the game itself. But there's a whole deeper ocean of value hidden in plain sight. Many of these digital worlds have figured out how to create real-world wealth from things that exist only as code. Think about it. Unique outfits for your character, called skins, or special items that give you an edge, or even just rare digital pets. Players spend billions each year to own these virtual treasures. Here's the thing. This isn't a completely new idea. For a very long time, humans have placed value on things that aren't strictly necessary for survival, but that bring joy, status, or a sense of belonging. Imagine collecting rare baseball cards or a shiny, unique coin from a special event. The value isn't just in the cardboard or metal. It's in its rarity, its story, and what it means to the collector. Online games tap into this same human desire. They create a digital version of that rare coin or sticker album, where a unique item can make you feel special or help you connect with others who share that same passion. So, here's what happened. These virtual items become so desired that people are willing to pay real money for them, just like they would for a real-world collectible. It's a quiet wonder, really. What does it tell us about ourselves? That we can find such deep connection and worth in something we can't even physically touch. It shows us that value is often woven from our feelings, our shared experiences, and the stories we create together, blurring the lines between what's digital and what feels profoundly real. How a little idea became a huge company. Have you ever wondered where the biggest companies truly begin? Not with giant buildings or thousands of employees. Often, it starts smaller, a quiet thought, an idea no bigger than a single spark. And here's the thing, that spark can light up entire industries, changing how we live. Here's a thought. Long ago, people needed to keep track of things. How many sheep? How much grain? Someone probably just drew a line in the dirt to count. A simple mark. But that tiny idea of counting grew. It became numbers, then complex math and systems we use today for everything from phones to space. All from a basic need and a simple solution. Think of a tiny acorn. It holds the potential for a massive oak tree. You can't see the tree yet, but the plan is there, ready to sprout. An idea is like that acorn, just potential. Often, people who build huge companies see a problem everyone else accepts, like waiting too long, or an easier way to connect with friends. They don't just wish for better, they make it better. They pour passion and effort into nurturing that small idea, even when others don't see its worth. And that's why it matters. It's more than just money. It's about the human journey from a quiet what-if to a worldwide presence. It reminds us that every big change, every huge success, started small and fragile, waiting to be cared for. It tells us that even the quietest thought, yours perhaps, can grow into something immense with enough care and belief. The day a social site got a new face, have you ever looked at something familiar, something you use almost every day, and then suddenly, it just changed? Not just a small update, but a complete makeover. It can feel a little strange, right? Like waking up and your favorite tree in the yard has different leaves. It's still there, but it's sending a new message, asking you to see it differently. This shift from known to unknown can stir up many feelings. Here's the thing, Sometimes, even big social sites decide to change their whole look, their name, their identity. It's like a person getting a new style after years. It isn't just about looking different on the outside. It's often a sign of something much deeper happening inside, a new direction, a different dream for the future, a new way to connect. Letting go of the past for a new path takes courage. Think about a caterpillar. It crawls, it eats leaves. Everyone knows it as a caterpillar. But then, it builds a cocoon, disappears for a while, hidden away. When it emerges, it's a butterfly. It's still the same creature, but with a brand new face, a new way of moving, a new purpose, soaring instead of crawling. This isn't just a simple rebranding. This is a profound metamorphosis, a true rebirth. For a social site, changing its face is like that. It's a moment of declaration, a deep breath before a leap. It says, we are no longer just what you knew. We are something new, aiming for something bigger. It asks us to open our minds to a new possibility for that platform. It reminds us that even established things can transform, can shed old skin for a new beginning. There's always room to grow, to redefine yourself, to reach for a new horizon. And that's a quiet, powerful truth to hold on to, finding comfort in change. When food delivery companies teamed up, have you ever stopped to think about how much easier it is now to get your favorite meal delivered right to your door? It feels like magic, doesn't it? But behind that simple convenience, there's often a complex story of companies deciding to work together. Sometimes, even rivals become partners. Here's the thing. In the world of business, it's not always about competing until one company completely wins. Sometimes, it's smarter to join forces. Imagine two food delivery apps, each struggling a little in different cities, spending tons of money to get customers. They both have drivers, technology, and restaurants, but maybe not enough of everything to truly succeed alone. So, they look at each other, not as enemies, but as potential allies. This idea of teaming up, of merging or acquiring another business, isn't new. For a long time, people have understood that two minds, or two teams, can often achieve more than one. Think about ancient tribes joining together to build a stronger village, or to defend themselves better. It's a very human idea. Really, it's a lot like when you and a friend both have ingredients for a cake, but neither of you has all of them. You might have the flour and eggs, and your friend has the sugar and chocolate. If you combine what you have, you don't just get two small, incomplete cakes. You get one big, delicious cake that neither of you could have made alone. In business, when these companies combine, they share their customer lists, their drivers, their restaurant partnerships, and their tech. It means less wasted effort and a much bigger network. Suddenly, they can reach more homes, offer more choices, and maybe even lower costs. And that's why it matters. It shows us that even in a world that seems all about competition, there's a quiet strength in cooperation. Sometimes, truly big things happen not from fighting alone, but from reaching out and building something new, together. It's a reminder that change is constant, and sometimes, the smartest move is to adapt and create a bigger, shared path forward. The deal that changed how we pay. Have you ever stopped to think about how we pay for things? Not just swiping a card or tapping a phone, but the quiet agreement behind it all. For most of history, buying something meant handing over coins or trading. If you wanted new shoes, you needed exact cash. But then, a big idea, and an even bigger deal, changed everything. It wasn't just about plastic cards. It was about trust. A group of banks and businesses made a deal. They basically said, we will all accept this new kind of payment. It's a promise. If someone uses this card, we trust they'll pay later. This wasn't simple. Imagine if every store only accepted money from one specific bank. That would be messy. This deal made it so one card, one promise, could work almost everywhere. Think of it like this. Your friends decide on a secret handshake. At first, only a few know it, but then, you all agree to teach it to everyone in your grade. Suddenly, that handshake means something across the whole school. It's a shared understanding. This payment deal was like that handshake, but for money. It built a huge network, creating a web of trust where cash wasn't needed right then, and that's why it matters. This deal gave us freedom, the freedom to buy a book in a different town without carrying a heavy wallet, or to order food with just a few taps. It changed our idea of money, turning it from something solid you hold to a flowing promise, a quiet understanding shared across the world. It's a powerful feeling, knowing that trust makes billions of small moments possible every day. When digital art became a gold mine, have you ever wondered if something you can't touch, something only on a computer screen, could be worth millions? It sounds strange, right? We used to think art was paintings or sculptures you could see and feel. Then came digital art, drawings, animations, or music made on computers. The tricky part was, you could just copy it. If someone made a beautiful digital picture, anyone could save the exact same one. So, how could it be truly special, truly yours? This changed with something called NFTs, or non-fungible tokens. Think about it. For centuries, what made a physical painting valuable was that it was the original. There's only one Mona Lisa. Copies exist, but they aren't the real thing. NFTs brought this idea of being the original into the digital world. It's like a digital certificate, a special code that says, this specific digital file belongs to me, and there is only one official version of it, recorded forever. Imagine your favorite video game. You might earn a rare sword or a unique outfit for your character. Other players might have similar items, but yours has a special, invisible mark that proves it's the original, maybe the very first one made in the game. That's how digital art started to feel. It wasn't just a picture anymore. It was the original picture, verified by technology. This shift wasn't just about money. It was about how we see value itself. It made us ask, what truly makes something precious? Is it the feeling it gives us, the story it tells, or just the powerful idea that it's truly ours, and nobody else has this exact one? Digital art becoming a gold mine wasn't only about selling pictures. It was about finding a new way to say, this matters, this is mine. And even in a world of endless copies, some things can still be truly, uniquely special. The podcast company that got super rich. Have you ever put on headphones and just listened to a story, a laugh, or someone explaining something cool? It often feels like that person is talking just to you, doesn't it? Here's the thing, smart people saw how much we love to listen, and they built a super rich company from that simple idea. This company realized that even with all our screens, there's a deep hunger to hear human voices, not just music, but conversations, true stories, and lessons. For thousands of years, people gathered around fires for tales. Later, radio brought voices into homes. Podcasts are like our modern campfire, but you carry it in your pocket. This company didn't just make podcasts. They found the best ones. They bought up shows that made you laugh, or think, or even feel something real. They became the home for all those amazing voices. Think about it like this. When you tell your best friend about something upsetting or exciting, you feel heard, right? Their listening makes you feel understood. Well, this company understood that same feeling, but on a huge scale. They saw that millions wanted that connection, that quiet understanding, through stories told by others. They didn't sell products you could touch. They sold feelings, ideas, and belonging, all through sound. And that's why it matters. It reminds us that big fortunes aren't always made by selling physical things. Sometimes, the most powerful thing to offer is a voice, a story, a moment of connection in a busy world. It shows us the quiet, profound value in simply being heard, and in hearing others. The time a camera company got huge, have you ever looked at an old photo and felt a sudden rush of feelings? A picture from when you were little, or of someone you miss. It's almost like magic, isn't it? To hold a moment that's long gone, right there in your hands. For most of history, only artists could capture faces or places. But then, a company came along and changed everything, letting everyone freeze time. This was Kodak. Imagine a world where taking a picture was super complicated. You needed fancy equipment, chemicals, and a lot of training. Most people couldn't ever dream of taking their own photos. But Kodak's founder, George Eastman, had a big idea. He wanted to make cameras so simple, so easy, that anyone could use them. And he did. He made a camera you could just point and click. Then you'd send the whole camera back to Kodak, and they'd develop the pictures and send them back to you, even reloading your camera. Here's the thing. Suddenly, everyone could capture their family vacations, their pets, their birthdays, life's small, precious moments. It was huge. People loved it. The company grew enormous, making billions because they sold not just cameras, but film, and the service to develop those precious memories. It's a bit like how we use our phones today. You don't think twice before taking a picture of your lunch or your friends laughing. That's the feeling Kodak gave people long ago, the power to just snap and save. They owned that feeling, that deep desire to remember. But here's the quiet sadness. As the world kept turning, cameras changed again. Digital cameras came, and then phones with cameras. Kodak, the giant that taught everyone to take pictures, held on to the old ways for too long. They had invented the digital camera themselves, but didn't think it would be big. They couldn't let go of their film business. And so, the company that made billions from capturing memories slowly faded, becoming a memory itself. It reminds us that even the most powerful feelings, like wanting to remember, can find new ways to live. And businesses must always be ready for tomorrow, even if today feels perfect. The past is beautiful, but the future always arrives. When a sports league signed a big deal, have you ever really thought about why sports matter so much to us? Why do our hearts race when our favorite team takes the field or court? That deep, shared feeling, the excitement that brings millions of us together, holds an incredible power. It's more than just a game. It's a piece of our story. Here's the thing. A big sports league, like the NFL or the NBA, isn't just a collection of players. It's an entire universe built on this intense passion. And sometimes, these leagues sign what we call a big deal. This means a huge company, often a major television network or a streaming service, offers an enormous amount of money, sometimes billions of dollars. What are they paying for? They're buying the exclusive right to show those games, to share that thrill, and to reach all the fans who feel it deeply. They want to be the gatekeepers of that shared experience. People have always gathered to watch competitions. For thousands of years, from ancient Olympic festivals to village contests, there's been something deep inside us that loves to witness strength, skill, and human drama. We love to pick a side and cheer with all our might. This feeling isn't new. It's woven into who we are. But in our modern world, that simple human joy, when shared by so many, can become truly immense. It becomes a force that influences business on a grand scale. Imagine your absolute favorite band. When they write a song that just gets you, and then a big music service offers them a massive amount of money to have that song only on their platform, what's really happening? That service isn't just buying notes and lyrics. They're buying into the band's magic, the listener's loyalty, and the emotional connection everyone has. It's the same for sports. Companies know millions will tune in, week after week, because they want to be part of the game, part of that shared heartbeat. So, these massive deals aren't just about cold numbers or money changing hands. They are about something more profound. They show us how powerful our shared emotions are. They reveal how our collective hopes and dreams, our cheers and groans, can build a world where billions are exchanged for the right to be a part of those moments we hold dear. It makes you pause and think about what truly connects us as people, and how valuable those connections can be, far beyond what any scoreboard might show. The company that bought your pet's food. Have you ever thought about the food your dog or cat eats every day? That crunchy kibble, that juicy wet food. It's a big part of their life, and how you show them love. You pick a brand you trust, maybe because your parents always bought it, or you saw a cute ad. But here's the thing. Often, the company you think makes that food isn't the real company behind it anymore. Imagine a small, trusted company making special treats. People loved it. It felt personal. Then, a giant company sees how much people love that brand. So, this huge company makes an offer. They buy the smaller company. Everything looks the same. The bag, the logo, maybe even the recipe. But now, it's all part of something much, much bigger. This isn't just about making money. It's about connecting to your emotions, to that deep care you have for your pet. This happens all the time, not just with pet food. Think about your favorite snack chips. You might see 5 different bags on the shelf, all with different names and flavors. But if you look closely, many are owned by the same huge food corporation. It's like when you have a favorite band, and then you find out they're part of a massive music label that owns hundreds of bands. You still love the music, but the world behind it is larger than you imagined. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Our love for our pets, the choices we make for their health and happiness. These personal, heartfelt decisions sometimes travel through a very complicated network of companies and deals. It reminds us that even our smallest, most personal choices are often connected to a vast, invisible world of business, and that's why it matters. Understanding these quiet changes helps us see the bigger picture of how our world and our hearts are connected to the flow of billions. How one app became a gold mine. Have you ever stopped to truly think about the apps on your phone? Those little colorful squares, just a tap away. It's a bit mind-blowing, isn't it? How something so small, something you use daily, can grow into a massive goldmine worth billions. But here's the thing, it's not magic. It's actually about something much older and deeper. Human connection. Think way back in time, long before phones. People naturally gathered in specific spots, maybe the town square, or around a village well. That gathering place, where folks met, shared news, laughed, and even traded, always held immense value. It was where life happened, where community grew. If you could influence that space, you held something powerful. Now, fast forward to today, and imagine that old gathering place, but online. An app, often, is exactly that. It's a digital spot that brings millions of people together. They might share pictures, swap stories, play games, or just chat. The app itself is just lines of computer code, but the true gold, that's the huge, living network of humans using it every single day. Every message, every shared video, every emoji, that's the real value building up, piece by piece. It's kind of like building a giant sandcastle on the beach. One grain of sand, by itself, isn't much. But when thousands, even millions of tiny grains come together, shaped and connected, they create something wonderful, something that stands tall. An app works in a similar way. Each user, each person who joins, is like a single grain of sand. And the more grains connect, the more valuable the whole creation becomes. So, the people who make these apps, they don't just write code, they build a new kind of space for us all to connect, to belong. And maybe, that's a deep lesson for us. True wealth, in a way that truly matters, isn't always about owning endless things. Sometimes, it's about creating or finding places where people can genuinely connect, share their lives, and feel understood. The apps that become incredible goldmines quietly remind us that the strongest, most lasting treasure we have is often the bond between us. It's a gentle whisper that our shared humanity, our need to be together, is the richest thing of all. The deal for a famous shoemaker. Have you ever had a dream so big, so important, that you just knew you had to make it real? Maybe it was about winning a game, or creating something totally new. But here's the thing, even the biggest dreams, the ones that become huge companies and make billions, often start very small. They begin with a simple idea, a quiet hope, and sometimes, a crucial handshake. Think about a famous shoe company we all know, the one with the swoosh. It wasn't always a giant. It began with a runner, Phil Knight, and his college coach, Bill Bob. They believed better shoes could help athletes run faster, jump higher, feel more powerful. Back then, most running shoes weren't great. They wanted something different, something more for people who dared to push their limits. This wasn't just about selling shoes, it was about believing in human potential, in the pure joy of movement, in pushing what was possible. It was an emotional idea, a spark, long before it became a business plan. So, here's what happened. Phil Knight flew to Japan in 1962. He met with a company called Onitsuka, which made Tiger brand shoes. He didn't have a big company or lots of money. He had an idea, a deep belief, and a suitcase. He told them he represented Blue Ribbon Sports, even though it wasn't much of a company yet. He convinced them to let him sell their shoes in the United States. This wasn't a deal for billions. It was a deal for hope, a deal for a chance to try. It was like getting the first piece of a complex puzzle, knowing that without it, the whole beautiful picture could never be built. Imagine you're trying to build a really cool tree. You have the perfect design, but you need strong wood and the right tools. This deal was like getting that first, vital stack of lumber. Without it, the dream would have stayed just a dream, unbuilt. It shows us that some of the most important moments aren't flashy or loud. They're often quiet acts of faith, believing in an idea when few others see it, and finding someone else who believes in you, too. It's a reminder that every grand journey begins with that first, often uncertain, step. That first step can feel like everything, holding all the promise of what's to come. Making money from online courses. Have you ever thought about the quiet power of what you know? The unique wisdom tucked inside you. Maybe you're great at drawing, or you understand tricky math. What if that gift could reach others who want to learn it, and help you earn a living? This is the simple magic of online courses. You take what you know and share it through videos, words, or exercises on the internet. Students learn at their own speed, from anywhere. They pay a small fee to gain that knowledge. It's a trade built on trust and curiosity. For ages, knowledge was often locked away. Only a few had access to books or special teachers. Think of ancient scribes, or a master teaching just one apprentice. The internet arrived, an open door. It didn't invent teaching, but it totally changed how we learn. Now, anyone, anywhere, can be a student and a teacher. It's like this. Remember trying to beat a hard video game level? A friend showed you exactly what to do, step by step, until you got it. You felt that I can do this. Rush. Now, imagine your friend recorded that lesson, made it super clear, and offered it to thousands of other players stuck on that level. Each might pay a tiny amount for that clear help. That's the heart of an online course. This quiet sharing reminds us of something deep. Every person holds unique insights. Some can light the path for someone else. It's not just about money. It's about sharing what we've learned, finding help when needed. It's realizing your unique journey can truly matter, making the world a little brighter, one shared lesson at a time. When a small gadget company struck gold, imagine a tiny seed. It looks like nothing much, right? But that small seed holds all the power to grow into something huge, like a towering tree. That's a little like how some companies, tiny ones you've never heard of, sometimes discover a simple idea that changes everything. It's not about having giant buildings or thousands of workers. It's about seeing a small problem and finding a clear, simple way to fix it. Think back to almost any big invention. The first light bulb wasn't a giant, glowing sun. It was a humble filament in a glass bubble. People often forget that the world's biggest changes didn't start with a bang, but with a quiet thought, a small whisper of an idea that felt just right. Here's the thing. Someone finally noticed that everyone struggled with the same little annoyance and thought, what if we just made this a little easier? It's like when you're trying to untangle a knot in a shoelace. At first, it seems impossible, a mess of strings. But then, you find one tiny loop, just one, and carefully pull it. And suddenly, with that one small move, the whole knot starts to loosen. One small, clever movement changes everything. These companies show us something important. Sometimes the greatest treasures aren't found in grand, complicated plans, but in the quiet wisdom of making something small, truly useful, and perfectly simple. It teaches us that even the smallest ideas we have, if they truly help others, can hold an incredible, quiet power that grows far beyond what we could ever imagine. The story of a big music label sale. Have you ever listened to a song that just gets you? That feels like it was written just for your moment. Music has this incredible power, right? It connects with our feelings, makes us dance, or helps us feel less alone. But here's the thing. Behind those powerful songs, there's a whole world of business. Sometimes, an entire company built around music. A music label gets sold. A music label is like a big house for artists. It helps them record their songs, put them out into the world, and make sure people hear them. It's their business home. So, when a big music label gets sold, it's not just about records changing hands. It's about who now owns the rights to thousands of songs, the stories behind them, and even the careers of artists. It's about a huge chunk of our shared musical history becoming someone else's property. Think about your favorite video game. You bought it, you love it, you play it all the time. But imagine the company that made it, the one that poured its heart into creating that world, suddenly gets bought by a different, much bigger company. All those characters, all those levels, all those ideas, they now belong to someone new. Does the game change? Maybe, maybe not. But the feeling around it, the ownership, shifts. That's a bit like a music label sale, but on an even bigger, more emotional scale. These labels weren't always huge corporations. Long ago, music was simply shared around a campfire, a gift from one person to another. Then, people realized they could record it, press it onto records, and share it even further. And that's when the business side truly began to grow. The art of sound met the world of money. When a music label is sold for billions of dollars, it makes us think, can you truly put a price on a song that helped someone through a tough time? Or on an album that defined a whole generation? The deal itself is about numbers, about assets and future profits. But the real meaning of the music, its true value, lives in our memories and our hearts. And that's something no sale, no matter how big, can ever really change. It's a quiet thought, but an important one. How a website for news got super rich. Think about how you get your news these days. Maybe it's a quick scroll on your phone, right? You see headlines, read stories, and it feels like it's just there free. But have you ever stopped to wonder how these websites, the ones giving you all that information, actually get super rich. It's a really clever trick, and it changed the whole world of news. Here's the thing, for a long time, if you wanted the news, you bought a newspaper or waited for the evening TV report. You paid for it directly, but then the internet came along. It was like suddenly, every story, every event could be shared instantly across the globe, without printing a single page. This was amazing, but it also made people wonder, how do you make money when the news is free online? The answer, in its simplest form, is attention. Imagine you're at a huge, busy market. Lots of people are walking around, looking at things. If you own a stall in that market, you know that people's eyes are valuable. News websites are like those market stalls, but for information. They draw millions of people to their pages every day, all looking for stories. And that's where the advertisers come in. Just like on YouTube, where you watch a video and see an ad, news websites do the same. Companies pay a lot of money to show their ads to all those eyes scrolling through articles. The more people who visit a news website, the more money it can charge for those ads. It's a bit like a popular school cafeteria. Everyone wants to eat there, so the school can sell more snacks. This simple idea, that our attention has value, helped turn some news websites into giant money-making machines. It's a quiet but powerful shift. It shows us that even when information seems free, there's often a deep, smart business deal happening underneath, powered by something as everyday as us, simply reading a story. It makes you think about how our daily habits can shape massive fortunes without us even realizing it. The deal that gave us more games. Have you ever stopped to think about why there are so many amazing video games out there? Hundreds of different ones, for every taste, every mood. It wasn't always like this. For a long time, the world of games felt much smaller, with fewer companies making them. That meant fewer choices for all of us who loved to play. It was like having just a few colors in a giant art box. But then, something truly significant happened. It wasn't a war or a big new science invention. It was a business deal, a quiet but powerful agreement between two large companies. One of the biggest names in entertainment decided to buy a company that made games. This wasn't just about money changing hands. It was about opening up an entire new world of possibilities. Before this, games might have been seen as just a small part of entertainment. But this deal, this turning point, loudly declared how important games could be. It told the world, hey, games are a serious, creative, and incredibly fun business, full of stories waiting to be told. Think about it like this. Imagine your favorite streaming service only had 10 shows. You'd want more. Then, a deal happens, and suddenly, hundreds of new shows appear, made by different people with different ideas. This deal was like that for games. It poured new energy, new money, and fresh belief into the game industry. It gave countless creators more chances to make the games they dreamed of. The weird, the wonderful, the bold, and the imaginative games that might never have seen the light of day. And that's why it matters so deeply. Because of deals like this, we've gotten to explore countless new worlds. From ancient ruins to futuristic cities, we've laughed with friends in online adventures, solved tricky mysteries, and built incredible empires, all from our screens. It reminds us how a single business decision, made in a quiet room years ago, can ripple outward and truly change the way we play, learn, and imagine. It shapes the fun we have, bringing so much more creativity, choice, and joy into our everyday lives, often without us even realizing it. It's a powerful echo of progress, making billions from cleaning supplies. Have you ever really thought about dirt? Not just the messy kind, but the way things get grimy, dusty, or sticky. It's just part of life, right? And for many, many years, it felt like a constant battle to keep things clean. But here's the thing, some incredibly smart people saw that universal struggle, that quiet wish for things to be sparkling, and they turned it into huge fortunes. Think about it. From the oldest villages to today's giant cities, humans have always wanted to feel clean. It wasn't just about looking good. It was about health, about comfort, about feeling safe and calm in your own space. Long ago, people used basic things like ash and sand and plant oils to scrub away the grime. They knew, deep down, that a clean home felt better. It brought a sense of peace, a quiet order to a busy world. This isn't about complicated science experiments. It's about understanding a very simple, very human need. Imagine your own room after a super busy week. Clothes are everywhere. Books are piled up. Maybe a snack wrapper or two. How does that make you feel? A little overwhelmed? A bit heavy? Now, picture it after you've spent just 30 minutes cleaning it up. Everything in its place. The floor swept. Doesn't your mind feel clearer? Don't you feel a little lighter? More ready to relax or think? That deep, good feeling, that's what companies tapped into. They didn't invent cleanliness, but they made it easier, faster, and more effective for everyone. They sold that feeling of relief, that comfort of a fresh start, in a bottle or a box. They figured out how to package hope for a cleaner tomorrow. One spray, one wipe, one scrub at a time. And that's why it matters. It reminds us that sometimes the biggest ideas come from solving the simplest, most everyday problems that touch everyone's lives. It's about bringing a little more calm and order to our world, and realizing that quiet care can build something truly powerful.